Dr. Nur Komsah Kartikawati SHUT MP merupakan peneliti sekaligus penanggung jawab kegiatan pengembangan kayu putih unggul di BPPP-BPTH Yogyakarta. Peneliti cantik asal Klaten, Jawa Tengah yang akrab disapa Bu Ati saat ini menjabat sebagai Ketua 𝐏𝐡 Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan.
Melakukan kegiatan penelitian dan pengembangan kayu putih unggul dengan didasari atas kenyataan di lapangan bahwa terdapat kesenjangan antara suplai dan demand terhadap produksi minyak kayu putih. Terlebih di masa pandemi seperti sekarang ini, kayu putih menjadi sebuah produk, menjadi sebuah komoditas yang dicari-cari orang setiap hari. Sebetulnya ini menjadi sebuah ironi yang berkepanjangan di negeri ini, bahwa kita sebagai negara yang memiliki sumber daya tanaman kayu putih sebagai tanaman asli Indonesia, tapi kita harus mengimpor minyak eukaliptus sebagai minyak substitusi untuk mengganti minyak.
Dr. 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 𝑪𝒖𝒕𝒊𝒏𝒈 merupakan peneliti sekaligus penanggung jawab kegiatan pengembangan kayu putih unggul di BPPP Yogyakarta. Peneliti cantik asal Klaten, Jawa Tengah yang akrab disapa Bu Ati saat ini menjabat sebagai Ketua 𝐏𝐡 Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan.
Melakukan kegiatan penelitian dan pengembangan kayu putih unggul dengan didasari atas kenyataan di lapangan bahwa terdapat kesenjangan antara suplai dan demand terhadap produksi minyak kayu putih. Terlebih di masa pandemi seperti sekarang ini, kayu putih menjadi sebuah produk, menjadi sebuah komoditas yang dicari-cari orang setiap hari. Sebetulnya ini menjadi sebuah ironi yang berkepanjangan di negeri ini, bahwa kita sebagai negara yang memiliki sumber daya tanaman kayu putih sebagai tanaman asli Indonesia, tapi kita harus mengimpor minyak eukaliptus sebagai minyak substitusi untuk mengganti minyak kayu putih. Balai Besar Litbang Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan telah menghasilkan benih kayu putih unggul dengan produktivitas yang jauh lebih bagus dibandingkan dengan biasa. Kami telah membangun sebuah model pertanaman skala kecil di Gunung Kidul seluas 10 hektar.
Halo Sobat Biotifor, kali ini kita mau jalan-jalan ke kawasan hutan dengan tujuan khusus atau disingkat 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang. Yuk Sobat, kita ke sana. 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang secara administrasi berada di Desa 𝒍𝒂𝒏, Kecamatan Pakem, Kabupaten Sleman, yang dibangun pada tahun 1958. 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang merupakan salah satu dari 6 𝐏𝐡 yang dikelola oleh Balai Besar Litbang Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan atau biasa kita sebut Biotifor. Luas 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang kurang lebih 10 hektar yang terletak pada ketinggian 900 mdpl di atas permukaan laut. Di sebelah barat berbatasan dengan Desa Purwopinangun dan Candi Pinangun. Sebelah selatan berbatasan dengan Desa 𝒍𝒂𝒏 dan Pakem Pinangun. Sebelah timur berbatasan dengan Desa Umbulharjo, Kecamatan Cangkringan, serta di sebelah utara berbatasan dengan Gunung Merapi. 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang ini sebagai model restorasi ekosistem berbasis genetik di dataran tinggi vulkano dan pemanfaatannya untuk perekonomian masyarakat melalui wisata ilmiah ekoeduturisme dalam 20 tahun mendatang. 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang sebagai kawasan lindung dengan fungsi sebagai hutan penelitian, arboretum, penyangga, dan sumber plasma nutfah. Selain untuk tujuan wisata ilmiah, area 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang lebih difungsikan sebagai area tanaman koleksi yang berusia lebih dari 40 tahun membuat jenis-jenis tumbuhan yang ada di kawasan tersebut berisi jenis-jenis pohon unggulan kehutanan yang ditanam sebagai salah satu bahan percobaan ilmiah dan koleksi dari berbagai negara. Saat ini, 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 diberikan kepercayaan menjadi penanggung jawab kegiatan prioritas nasional dengan tema optimalisasi konservasi pemanfaatan sumber daya hutan dan integrasi wisata ilmiah berbasis masyarakat di 𝐏𝐡 Kaliurang. Kegiatan ini merupakan bagian dari prioritas nasional pada proyek penerapan 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 di 6 𝐏𝐡 di Indonesia dengan tujuan untuk meningkatkan kapasitas masyarakat sekitar 𝐏𝐡 dan menghasilkan iptek yang lebih bermanfaat bagi masyarakat, serta kemajuan ilmu pengetahuan.
Hai Sobat Beauty4, jalan-jalan yuk ke Bondowoso, tepatnya di 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin Bondowoso. 𝐏𝐡 ini dibangun pada tahun 1937 dengan luas 23,6 hektar. Pada awalnya, 𝐏𝐡 ini dikelola oleh Lembaga Penelitian Hutan atau LPH Bogor yang sekarang berubah menjadi Pusat Penelitian dan Pengembangan Hutan atau P3H.
Pada tahun 2000, pengelolaannya dilimpahkan kepada Pusat Penelitian dan Pengembangan Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan atau disingkat P3BPTH Yogyakarta yang sekarang telah menjadi Balai Besar Penelitian dan Pengembangan Bioteknologi Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan atau biasa kita sebut 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈. Lokasi ini berjarak kurang lebih 536 km dari kantor 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 yang berada di Jogja. Lokasi 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin Bondowoso secara administratif terletak di Desa Sumberwingin Bondowoso, Kecamatan Sumberwingin, Kabupaten Bondowoso. Area ini terletak pada ketinggian kurang lebih 800 meter di atas permukaan laut, sedangkan luasnya adalah 23,6 hektar. Kawasan 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin Bondowoso berbatasan dengan jalan umum dan pemukiman yang diperkeras dengan lapisan aspal sepanjang kurang lebih 700 meter dengan lebar 2,5 meter. Jalan tersebut berbatasan dengan perkampungan Dusun Sukosari dengan kondisi jalan yang seluruhnya baik. Dalam rencana pengelolaan jangka panjang 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin tahun 2020 sampai dengan 2039 disebutkan bahwa 𝐏𝐡 tersebut sebagai model pemulihan dan konservasi genetik tanaman hutan pada dataran tinggi dengan kawasan ekowisata. 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin Bondowoso memiliki potensi kekayaan sumber daya alam jenis-jenis khas yang dikembangkan di dataran tinggi, sehingga branding untuk 𝐏𝐡 ini adalah pemulihan dan konservasi genetik tanaman hutan pada dataran tinggi dengan maskot tanaman 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 dan 𝒊𝒑𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈. Masyarakat sekitar 𝐏𝐡 Sumberwingin saat ini lebih mengenal dengan nama hutan pelangi. Mengapa disebut dengan hutan pelangi? Karena di hutan ini ada pepohonan yang mempunyai warna kulit pohon sangat indah, seperti pelangi, yaitu Eucalyptus declupta. Sejak bulan Desember tahun 2002 telah dilakukan kegiatan penelitian dengan tujuan konservasi dan pemulihan yang meliputi jenis Araucaria cunninghami, jenis ulin, merbau, sengon, dan bambu betung. Untuk menjamin keberhasilan pengelolaan 𝐏𝐻𝐷𝒃, dilakukan kegiatan pembinaan, pengawasan, dan pengendalian terhadap semua kegiatan di 𝐏𝐻𝐷𝒃, mulai dari perencanaan, pelaksanaan hingga tercapainya tujuan pengelolaan 𝐏𝐻𝐷𝒃.
Everything in life starts with a dream. That is why we are driven by our values to explore beyond the ordinary and never stopping to continue to innovate with paper. Bringing to life the ideas that will leave positive impacts on our planet, that will sustain through generations, that will grow together with all of us. Growing for us is not only about the business, it is also about empowering communities and safeguarding the environment. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we all share a common vision. Let's work hand in hand responsibly, continuously, and sustainably by ensuring that everything we do today is for the benefit of tomorrow.
Dr. 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 𝑪𝒖𝒕𝒕𝒊𝒏𝒈 merupakan peneliti sekaligus penanggung jawab kegiatan pengembangan kayu putih unggul di 𝒊𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 Jakarta. Peneliti cantik asal Klaten, Jawa Tengah yang akrab disapa Bu Ati saat ini menjabat sebagai Ketua 𝐏𝐡 Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan.
Melakukan kegiatan penelitian dan pengembangan kayu putih unggul dengan didasari atas kenyataan di lapangan bahwa terdapat kesenjangan antara suplai dan demand terhadap produksi minyak kayu putih. Terlebih di masa pandemi seperti sekarang ini, kayu putih menjadi sebuah produk, menjadi sebuah komoditas yang dicari-cari orang setiap hari. Sebetulnya ini menjadi sebuah ironi yang berkepanjangan di negeri ini, bahwa kita sebagai negara yang memiliki sumber daya tanaman kayu putih sebagai tanaman asli Indonesia, tapi kita harus mengimpor minyak eukaliptus sebagai minyak substitusi untuk mengganti minyak kayu putih. Balai Besar Litbang Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan telah menghasilkan benih kayu putih unggul dengan produktivitas yang jauh lebih bagus dibandingkan dengan biasa. Kami telah membangun sebuah model pertanaman skala kecil di Gunung Kidul seluas 10 hektar. Saat ini tanaman itu sudah dimanfaatkan oleh masyarakat di sekitar hutan, kelompok tani yang ada di sana, dan dapat mensejahterakan kelompok-kelompok tani tersebut. Tidak hanya itu, kami juga mengembangkan sebuah model seperti yang ada di Gunung Kidul di wilayah Indonesia Timur, yaitu di biak numfor dalam skala 5 hektar. Usaha kami untuk mengembangkan kayu putih unggul ini tidak berjalan mulus, tetapi ada hambatan dan rintangan. Salah satu hal yang menjadikan kendala adalah adanya keterbatasan sumber dana, sehingga kami harus lebih kreatif untuk mencari sumber dana dari kementerian lain. Salah satu upaya yang kami lakukan adalah mengajukan proposal pendanaan ke Kemenristek melalui skema inovasi industri. Yang pertama, kita bekerja sama dengan PT Sanggar Agro Karya Persada berupa pengembangan kayu putih unggul di Tambora seluas 4.000 hektar. Kemudian pada tahun-tahun berikutnya lebih difokuskan kepada kerjasama dengan kelompok-kelompok tani, yaitu di Riau, kemudian di Lampung, kemudian di Madura, dan di Lamongan. Seiring dengan upaya pengembangan kayu putih unggul di beberapa daerah, kami melakukan inovasi terhadap diversifikasi produk. Untuk itu, kami berkolaborasi dengan perusahaan maupun lembaga riset seperti PT Eagle Pharma atau PT Caplang, dengan Indeso, Bio Farma KIPB, UGM maupun dalam rangka menuju kemandirian minyak kayu putih secara nasional, maka kami terus-menerus melakukan inovasi dan memperluas pengembangan kayu putih unggul di beberapa daerah di Indonesia. Pembangunan model industri skala kecil di beberapa wilayah diperlukan untuk memberikan percontohan kepada masyarakat yang pada akhirnya dapat membentuk desa-desa inovasi kayu putih di seluruh penjuru tanah air. Kolaborasi antara beberapa pihak seperti KLHK, Kementerian Kesehatan, Kementerian Perindustrian, Kementerian Dalam Negeri sangat diperlukan untuk mewujudkan harapan kami. Komitmen kami hanya satu, Indonesia harus menjadi negara swasembada minyak kayu putih. Semoga harapan ini segera terwujud. Amin.
Waktu terus berlalu. Kita pernah takut. Tapi itu tak membuat hati kita surut. Kita pernah patah. Tapi itu tak membuat kita menyerah. Kita pernah hancur. Tapi itu tidak membuat kita mundur. Kita terus berusaha membawa asa yang tersisa. Kita terus maju meraih impian yang kita tuju. Terima kasih untuk yang tak kenal lelah berjuang. Berjuang menjaga diri dan orang sekitar kita. Bersama kita hadapi masa sulit ini. Dan bersama kita akan menemukan jalan keluarnya. Bersama, Indonesia akan tumbuh lebih tangguh. Merdeka!
Tropical rainforest in Kalimantan is a lowland forest dominated with 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏 species. One of useful species is tengkawang, or known as Borneo Telonat or Ilibena. Borneo Telonat has been cultivated and used by forest communities hereditary. Since the 1970s, commercially, Borneo Telonat fruit has been traded in all parts of Kalimantan. However, only in West Kalimantan have been traded and even exported at a very promising price until now. Cultivation efforts are carried out by local people with living fruits during mass harvest to be sown and planted around the forest floor. While the traditional utilization process starts with grinding dried Borneo Telur seeds, sieve and then the fine powder put into a sack and heat with firewood in a drum filled with water. An hour later, the sack filled with Borneo Telur powder was pressed with a simple tool, namely a pit, to remove a liquid known as Borneo Telur. Borneo Telur can be used for various daily needs, as a substitute for cooking oil or margarine, ingredients for traditional medicines, and also as moisturizer for chapped lips and skin. Previously, dried fruit of Borneo Telur nut were sold to Kuching, Malaysia, but now it's opposite. Due to fat processing in Indonesia much better, especially in Bangkayan area, West Kalimantan. While Borneo Telur products have been exported to various countries in the world, including in some Europe countries, which the price around $120 to $125 per kilogram, and exported to America can be reached $225 till $250 per kilogram. 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒎𝒊𝒂𝒏 Research Center collaborates with ITTO PD 586/10-1F and supported with Indonesian Ministry of Environment and Forestry was conducted some integrated research development and innovation on Borneo Telur nut throughout Kalimantan region. The studies presented 𝒊𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒎𝒊𝒂𝒏 cultivation techniques was adopted as a cultivation techniques, and then 3 generations of appropriate technology tools were introduced, 2 manually and 1 semi-mechanical for household or small medium scale industries. Some Borneo Telur nut product diversifications were also introduced, where for low quality of fruit or telur can be made for handicrafts and antibacterial soap, while high-quality Borneo Telur can be used as a raw material for various bio-foods, bio-cosmetics, and biomedicine.
Borneo Telur butter of 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 had a melting point of 29 degrees Celsius and consists high-density lipoprotein, which consists of oleic acid, linoleic acid, and linolenic acid. It's considered for consumption safely.
Borneo Telur is often introduced as a substitute for cooking oil or margarine, and possible to add it for sensational taste in processed food products. One of restaurant, namely Wong Songo in Samarinda, has sold it as a special menu, namely black butter rice, considering that it has a distinctive aroma and taste and is in demand by consumers as a supporting a diet program.
and innovation of Borneo Talongat continues to be carried out by cooperating with some partners and related stakeholders, especially as leading non-timber forest products that support alternative availability of biofood, biomedicine, and biocosmetic materials. In addition, 𝒊𝐿 cultivation is also directed towards to the neglected or critical land use.
Dissemination and publication of Borneo Talongat products has been carried out by Data, Information and Cooperation Division of the 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏 Research Center through education and training, and also introduction of appropriate technology tools for Borneo Talongat processing. As promotion, some leaflets and brochures were made, and also some scientific papers and books have been published, and it have received copyright certificate from Indonesian Ministry of Law and Human Rights.
Sang kabak mana?
Halo Sobat Beautiful, kali ini kita mau jalan-jalan ke kawasan hutan dengan tujuan khusus atau disingkat 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang. Yuk Sobat, kita ke sana. 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang secara administrasi berada di Desa 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒈, Kecamatan Pakem, Kabupaten Sleman, yang dibangun pada tahun 1958. 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang merupakan salah satu dari 6 𝐏𝐻𝐡 yang dikelola oleh Balai Besar Litbang Bioteknologi dan Pemuliaan Tanaman Hutan atau biasa kita sebut 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒈. Luas 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang kurang lebih 10 hektar yang terletak pada ketinggian 900 mdpl di atas permukaan laut. Di sebelah barat berbatasan dengan Desa Purwopinangun dan Candi Pinangun. Sebelah selatan berbatasan dengan Desa 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒈 dan Pakem Pinangun. Sebelah timur berbatasan dengan Desa Umbul-Harjo, Kecamatan Cangkringan, serta di sebelah utara berbatasan dengan Gunung Merapi. 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang ini sebagai model restorasi ekosistem berbasis genetik di dataran tinggi vulkano dan pemanfaatannya untuk perekonomian masyarakat melalui wisata ilmiah ekoeduturism dalam 20 tahun mendatang. 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang sebagai kawasan lindung dengan fungsi sebagai hutan penelitian, arboretum, penyangga, dan sumber plasma nutfah. Selain untuk tujuan wisata ilmiah, area 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang lebih difungsikan sebagai area tanaman koleksi yang berusia lebih dari 40 tahun, membuat jenis-jenis tumbuhan yang ada di kawasan tersebut berisi jenis-jenis pohon unggulan kehutanan yang ditanam sebagai salah satu bahan percobaan ilmiah dan koleksi dari berbagai negara. Saat ini, 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒆 Jogja diberikan kepercayaan menjadi penanggung jawab kegiatan prioritas nasional dengan tema optimalisasi konservasi pemanfaatan sumber daya hutan dan integrasi wisata ilmiah berbasis masyarakat di 𝐏𝐻𝐡 Kaliurang. Kegiatan ini merupakan bagian dari prioritas nasional pada proyek penerapan 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒆 di 6 𝐏𝐻𝐡 di Indonesia dengan tujuan untuk meningkatkan kapasitas masyarakat sekitar 𝐏𝐻𝐡 dan menghasilkan iptek yang lebih bermanfaat bagi masyarakat, serta kemajuan ilmu pengetahuan.
Sobat Beauty4, jalan-jalan yuk ke Bondowoso, tepatnya di 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin Bondowoso. 𝐏𝐡𝒃 ini dibangun pada tahun 1937 dengan luas 23,6 hektar. Pada awalnya, 𝐏𝐡𝒃 ini dikelola oleh Lembaga Penelitian Hutan atau LPH Bogor yang sekarang berubah menjadi Pusat Penelitian dan Pengembangan Hutan atau P3H.
Pada tahun 2000, pengelolaannya dilimpahkan kepada Pusat Penelitian dan Pengembangan Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan atau disingkat P3BPTH Yogyakarta yang sekarang telah menjadi Balai Besar Penelitian dan Pengembangan Bioteknologi Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan atau biasa kita sebut Beauty4. Lokasi ini berjarak kurang lebih 536 km dari kantor Beauty4 yang berada di Jogja. Lokasi 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin Bondowoso secara administratif terletak di Desa Sumberwingin Bondowoso, Kecamatan Sumberwingin, Kabupaten Bondowoso. Area ini terletak pada ketinggian kurang lebih 800 meter di atas permukaan laut, sedangkan luasnya adalah 23,6 hektar. Kawasan 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin Bondowoso berbatasan dengan jalan umum dan pemukiman yang diperkeras dengan lapisan aspal sepanjang kurang lebih 700 meter dengan lebar 2,5 meter. Jalan tersebut berbatasan dengan perkampungan Dusun Sukosari dengan kondisi jalan yang seluruhnya baik. Dalam rencana pengelolaan jangka panjang 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin tahun 2020 sampai dengan 2039 disebutkan bahwa 𝐏𝐡𝒃 tersebut sebagai model pemuliaan dan konservasi genetik tanaman hutan pada dataran tinggi dengan kawasan ekowisata. 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin Bondowoso memiliki potensi kekayaan sumber daya alam jenis-jenis khas yang dikembangkan di dataran tinggi, sehingga branding untuk 𝐏𝐡𝒃 ini adalah pemuliaan dan konservasi genetik tanaman hutan pada dataran tinggi dengan maskot tanaman 𝒕𝒂𝒏 dan 𝒊𝒂𝒏𝒈. Masyarakat sekitar 𝐏𝐡𝒃 Sumberwingin saat ini lebih mengenal dengan nama hutan pelangi. Mengapa disebut dengan hutan pelangi? Karena di hutan ini ada pepohonan yang mempunyai warna kulit pohon sangat indah, seperti pelangi, yaitu Eucalyptus declupta. Sejak bulan Desember tahun 2002 telah dilakukan penelitian dengan tujuan konservasi dan pemuliaan yang meliputi jenis 𝒊𝒂𝒏𝒈 cunninghami, jenis ulin, merbau, sengon, dan bambu betung. Untuk menjamin keberhasilan pengelolaan 𝐏𝐡𝒃, dilakukan kegiatan pembinaan, pengawasan, dan pengendalian terhadap semua kegiatan di 𝐏𝐡𝒃, mulai dari perencanaan, pelaksanaan hingga tercapainya tujuan pengelolaan 𝐏𝐡𝒃.
Everything in life starts with a dream. That is why we are driven by our values to explore beyond the ordinary and never stopping to continue to innovate with paper. bringing to life the ideas that will leave positive impacts on our planet, that will sustain through generations, that will grow together with all of us. Growing for us is not only about the business, it is also about empowering communities and safeguarding the environment. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we all share a common vision. Let's work hand in hand responsibly, continuously, and sustainably by ensuring that everything we do today is for the benefit of tomorrow.
Tes 1, 2, 3 dicoba. Tes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 dicoba.
Dr. 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 𝑪𝒖𝒕𝒊𝒏𝒈 merupakan peneliti sekaligus penanggung jawab kegiatan pengembangan kayu putih unggul di 𝒊𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒈 Yogyakarta. Peneliti cantik asal Klaten, Jawa Tengah yang akrab disapa Bu Ati saat ini menjabat sebagai Ketua 𝐏𝐡 Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan.
Kami melakukan kegiatan penelitian dan pengembangan kayu putih unggul dengan didasari atas kenyataan di lapangan bahwa terdapat kesenjangan antara suplai dan demand terhadap produksi minyak kayu putih. Terlebih di masa pandemi seperti sekarang ini, kayu putih menjadi sebuah produk, menjadi sebuah komoditas yang dicari-cari orang setiap hari. Sebetulnya ini menjadi sebuah ironi yang berkepanjangan di negeri ini, bahwa kita sebagai negara yang memiliki sumber daya tanaman kayu putih sebagai tanaman asli Indonesia, tapi kita harus mengimpor minyak eukaliptus sebagai minyak substitusi untuk mengganti minyak kayu putih. Balai Besar Litbang Bioteknologi dan Pemulihan Tanaman Hutan telah menghasilkan benih kayu putih unggul dengan produktivitas yang jauh lebih bagus dibandingkan dengan biasa. Kami telah membangun sebuah model pertanaman skala kecil di Gunung Kidul seluas 10 hektar. Saat ini tanaman itu sudah dimanfaatkan oleh masyarakat di sekitar hutan, kelompok tani yang ada di sana, dan dapat mensejahterakan kelompok-kelompok tani tersebut. Tidak hanya itu, kami juga mengembangkan sebuah model seperti yang ada di Gunung Kidul di wilayah Indonesia Timur, yaitu di biak numfor dalam skala 5 hektar. Usaha kami untuk mengembangkan kayu putih unggul ini tidak berjalan mulus, tetapi ada hambatan dan rintangan. Salah satu hal yang menjadikan kendala adalah adanya keterbatasan sumber dana, sehingga kami harus lebih kreatif untuk mencari sumber dana dari kementerian lain. Salah satu upaya yang kami lakukan adalah mengajukan proposal pendanaan ke Kemenristek melalui skema inovasi industri. Yang pertama, kita bekerja sama dengan PT Sanggar Agro Karya Persada berupa pengembangan kayu putih unggul di Tambora seluas 4.000 hektar. Kemudian pada tahun-tahun berikutnya lebih difokuskan kepada kerjasama dengan kelompok-kelompok tani, yaitu di Riau, kemudian di Lampung, kemudian di Madura, dan di Lamongan. Seiring dengan upaya pengembangan kayu putih unggul di beberapa daerah, kami melakukan inovasi terhadap diversifikasi produk. Untuk itu, kami berkolaborasi dengan perusahaan maupun lembaga riset seperti PT Eagle Pharma atau PT Caplang, dengan Indeso, Bio Farma KIPB, UGM maupun dalam rangka menuju kemandirian minyak kayu putih secara nasional, maka kami terus-menerus melakukan inovasi dan memperluas pengembangan kayu putih unggul di beberapa daerah di Indonesia. Pembangunan model industri skala kecil di beberapa wilayah diperlukan untuk memberikan percontohan kepada masyarakat yang pada akhirnya dapat membentuk desa-desa inovasi kayu putih di seluruh penjuru tanah air. Kolaborasi antara beberapa pihak seperti KLHK, Kementerian Kesehatan, Kementerian Perindustrian, Kementerian Dalam Negeri sangat diperlukan untuk mewujudkan harapan kami. Komitmen kami hanya satu, Indonesia harus menjadi negara swasembada minyak kayu putih. Semoga harapan ini segera terwujud. Amin.
Waktu terus berlalu. Kita pernah takut. Tapi itu tak membuat hati kita surut. Kita pernah patah. Tapi itu tak membuat kita menyerah. Kita pernah hancur. Tapi itu tidak membuat kita mundur. Kita terus berusaha membawa asa yang tersisa. Kita terus maju meraih impian yang kita tuju. Terima kasih untuk yang tak kenal lelah berjuang. Berjuang menjaga diri dan orang sekitar kita. Bersama kita hadapi masa sulit ini. Dan bersama kita akan menemukan jalan keluarnya. Bersama, Indonesia akan tumbuh lebih tangguh. Merdeka!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 6th INAFOR Stream 5. Before we start the second program, we would like to inform you that the organizing committee will virtually present the certificate and give souvenir to all of the keynote speakers and moderators of the previous program. The organizing, So we have 4 keynote speakers in the previous program, and all the gift certificate will be sent to the address of the keynote speakers and moderator. The organizing committee also would appreciate the very active participant that was on camp during our break session. So we would like to give the prize to Ms. Pipit Sumanti, and the organizing committee will contact you regarding to this prize. And ladies and gentlemen, now we are in the second program with more interesting invited speakers. We are looking forward to hear very interesting topic to be discussed in this program. This session will be chaired by Professor Budi Laksono. Professor Budi Laksono. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the second session is Professor Budi Laksono. Professor Budi Laksono is a researcher professor of Center for Forest Biotechnology and Tree Improvement. He obtained his PhD in 2008 from Graduate School of Agricultural and Life Science, University of Tokyo, Japan. His expertise is forestry breeding. Professor Budi Laksono, the stage is yours now.
Thank you, Bu Istiana. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the session 1. And in this session, 3 invited speakers will present about bio perspective, innovations, and some approaches in controlling COVID-19 from the forestry sector. The first presenter is Dr. Sri Sunarti, will deliver a paper on forestry in relation on pandemic COVID-19, challenge to forest biodiversity, breeding, and biotechnology. The second presenter is Professor Dr. Hani Wijaya, entitled Kajubut Essential Oil, the Renewable Forest Product as Functional Food Ingredient in Conquering the COVID-19 Pandemic. And the third presenter is Dr. Tien Wahyuni, will present about the initial assessment of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on forest resilience and forest-dependent communities, resilience in East Kalimantan. Ladies and gentlemen, the rules in the session are the same as in the keynote speaker session. After the 3 speakers has presented for 15 minutes each, it will be followed by a question and answer session. Before the presentation, I will convey a brief curriculum vitae for each speaker. And later, please provide to raise a question or opinion by using the chat room, and please identify your name and clearly state the target speaker of your question. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start from the first presentation. The first presentation will be presented by Dr. Sri Sunarti. She is a senior researcher on Forestry Improvement Center for Forest Biotechnology and Tree Improvement Research and Development Yogyakarta, graduated from Doctor Degree from Forest Faculty Gadjah Mada University, Yogyakarta, and current research in acacia and eucalypt breeding project, and the highest achievement plant variety protection right for 4 varieties and 8 registered plant varieties of acacia and eucalypt. I'd like to invite Dr. Sri Sunarti. 15 minutes for yours.
Yes, thank you. May I share screen, Pak Budi?
Okay, please.
Can you hear me, Pak Budi?
Yeah.
My sound is okay?
Yes, very clear, please.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much to Prof. Budi Laksono as moderator, host, and also the committee of this conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And this good opportunity, I would like to present and discuss about the relationship between the forestry and the pandemic COVID-19. And the title of my presentation is Forestry in Relation to Pandemic COVID-19, Challenges for Forest Biodiversity, Breeding, and Biotechnology. Here with me is Dr. Azaki Interdisciplinary and also Dr. Arief Nirsatmanto from CFPTI. The outlines of my presentation will start with the introduction, and then we will talking a little bit about the pandemic COVID-19, and then Indonesian forest biodiversity and biodiversity prospecting. We will also discuss about the role of breeding and biotechnology, and then the process how to obtain the product from the bioprospecting. And then we will end it with a conclusion. And let's start with the introduction. We'll talk a brief overview dealing with the relationship between the forestry and the pandemic COVID-19. And we will start with the increasing of fragmented forests due to the increasing of deforestation in the world. And this condition reported lead the emerging of the zoonotic disease. It is kind of infectious disease that transmitted from the animal to human body. And COVID-19, it is reported that categorized into the zoonotic disease. The bats from the forest is suspected the animals that carry the virus. And the virus is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 that firstly found in Wuhan, Hubei province, China on December 2019. And when the virus infected the human body, it will cause emerge the symptom like fever and then headaches, dry cough, sore throat, and also loss of smell, loss of state. And for the people with the illness or the comorbid, it will be more serious symptom. And relating to this disease, actually, there are many resources from the forest, such as leaf, and then bark, and then wood, flower, and also seed. It actually reported can reduce the illness and the severity of the illness cause of this disease. And now let's move to the pandemic COVID-19. As we know that COVID-19 categorized into the zoonotic disease that started outbreak in the world on January 2020 and stayed by the World Health Organization as pandemic on March. As we know that during the infection to the body, the virus had been mutated and produced many new variant coronaviruses, such as Alpha variant that firstly found in UK on September 2020, and then Beta variant, and then Gamma variant, and the last is about the Delta variant that firstly found in India on October 2020. Until the middle of the August 2021, there are more than 207 million cases in the world, with the end about the 4 million people dead because of this COVID. And Indonesia, categorized as the country that have a high cases of COVID, more than 3,800,000 cases in Indonesia, and almost 120,000 person death cause of this pandemic. And so we are as a forester, and how the forestry could contribute to overcome this pandemic. So we have to discuss about this. Now, yes, what we have about the Indonesian forest biodiversity. As already mentioned by the previous speakers, Professor Julius and also Ibu Dr. Evi, Indonesia is very rich of the biodiversity. As we know, that Indonesia as an archipelago have more than 17,000 islands. That it's have the various climate from the lowlands to very high mountain, with the different climate and the high diversity of land covers. And by the Papanas, it is stated as the third largest in the world after Brazil and Congo Basin. And actually, Indonesian flora, it consists more than 30,000 angiosperma or flowering plants, and more than 86,000 species of fungi, almost 500 more about the lichen species, and almost 1,000 species of moss. As we know that this Indonesian flora had been used by our ancestors, such for food and shelter, and then for fiber, for natural diet, and then for alternative energy, and for culture, and also economic. And last is about the herbal or traditional herbal or jamu. Correlating with this pandemic, we will talking a little bit more about the herbal or jamu. Let's talk about the biodiversity prospecting. Biodiversity prospecting is systematic search for genes, natural compounds, design, and whole organism in natural resources that could be developed into commercially valuable products for pharmaceutical, agriculture, cosmetics, and more other applications. The traditional bioprospecting had been known since the Neolithic culture, since the found of mummy, an Iceman mummy in Tyrolean Alps on 1999. It is mentioned that from the mummy we can collect the inform. There was such of oil and compound from such of fungi that used for strong laxative medicine due to the application to the mummy. And then after the existing of the modern science and biotechnology, the bioprospecting become modern bioprospecting. And such as product from the bioprospecting, it is the biocompound such as metformin that usually used for the modern medicine for the diabetic disease that is produced from the modern bioprospecting. And now, what the stages of the bioprospecting? Actually, the bioprospecting consists of many stages. It firstly do with the exploration. The exploration done based on the references and the guiding medicinal plants book that already served before. Firstly, we do the exploration, and then extraction, and then classification, and the final the development. To do this big work about the bioprospecting, we need the collaboration, such as expertises from different disciplines, and then academics, scientists, researchers, and indigenous people, of course, because the indigenous people usually the source of the information about the medicinal plant in natural. And business sector to develop the product, and then the government, of course, by their regulation. And here is the constraint. As we know, due to the stages of the bioprospecting, such as exploration, it could become a cause of overexploitation and will cause extinction, and it can be unsustainable harvesting. So what should we do to overcome these constraints? We should do first domestication and then continue with the cultivation and application with the proper breeding and biotechnology. By application the proper of the breeding and biotechnology, it is not only overcome the constraint of bioprospecting, but it is also increasing the advantages of bioprospecting, such as good conservation. And then second, increase the productivity, and the last, find good markets. And of course, it will be increase the income for the indigenous people and also for the government. And here's about the breeding and biotechnology. We can mention that first is hybridization and selection. And then second, mutagenesis, either semically or physically. And then we can use the polyploid, such as aneuploids and multiple allele. And using of molecular marker also need in this breeding and biotechnology, such as QTL analysis, and then gene mapping, and etc. And the important also like tissue culture, and then cell culture, and anther culture. This is some technique to shortcut the hybridization in vitro. And of course, to produce the synthetic seeds to enhance the mass productivity. By applying this proper breeding and biotechnology, we could create or obtain the new variety, even the new species that have more higher productivity and then more stability than the species before on the target of species. And here's about the process. I think this process already described by Prof. Julius and also Ibu Evi as the keynote speaker. I just a little bit describe here about the products. The product from bioprospecting, actually there are two kinds. The first is a herbal, or the traditional herbal. It is usually used for the therapy. It is prevention of disease by increasing the immunity and the fitness body, or what we call the immodulatory. And then the second is about the medicinal. It is the synthetic medicine. Usually this is such kind of drugs for therapeutic, treating and healing this disease. And to obtain this product, we should collaborate it with breeder, botanists, chemists, pharmacists, health practitioner, medical personnel, and also the government. So with a good collaboration, we believe that this produce will be useful for handle the disease or other pandemic. And here's the more detail about how to obtain the developed product to the industrial product. First, start from the medicinal plants. Here's from the natural or the forest. Firstly, we check the poisonous of the body or others. This is collect the toxicology or pharmacokinetics. This is actually test for the safety for the human or others. And then the second, checking the bioactive compound. This is useful for establish the synthetic medicine. And then we do the isolate and identification the biological active compound. And then continue to the human study, such as clinical trial that already totally described by Prof. Julius the previous presenter. And it will be ending with the development of the industrial product. Okay, I think it's the end of my presentation. It's about the conclusion. We can conclude that Indonesian biodiversity has a great potential for overcome the COVID-19 by produce the herbal or natural medicines for prevention therapy, such as medical herbal or traditional herbal for improving the body fitness and the increasing an immunity such as immunomodulator. And then also we can produce the therapeutic treatment as antiviral drugs for treating and for healing the disease. And through the biodiversity prospecting or bioprospecting and by applying the proper breeding and biotechnology with good collaborating among the expertise, multidisciplines, and also the stakeholders, medicinal plants with higher quality with a sustained harvesting could be achieved. I think it's all about the conclusion. And here's some of the references that we've already used. And then thank you very much for your attention. And don't forget, apply the 5M. Stay home and keep safe. And thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Bu Sasa. Very interesting presentation. She talk about bioperspective, to forest biodiversity, breeding, and biotechnology. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have question or opinion, please write through the chat room. We move to the second presenter, Professor Dr. Hani Wijaya. She is a lecturer on Food Science and Technology Department at IPB University Bogor, graduated doctor degree from Agricultural Chemistry, Hokkaido University, Japan, and the current research about development of material for the treatment of pneumonia, COPD, by using the endangered plant Adenostemma lavenia. And the highest achievement, one of the highest achievement is Indonesian Innovation Award from Menristek and Business Innovation Office since 2008 to 2018. And I'd like to invite Professor Hani Wijaya. Please, time is yours.
Thank you, Professor Budi Laksono. Thank you for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, honorable speakers, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to God the Almighty for giving us this wonderful opportunity. I would like also to extend my deep gratitude to Professor Rimbawanto for his precious recommendation, and also to all the committee for this wonderful seminar. So in this opportunity, I will try my best to give a brief information regarding our works in utilize cajeput essential oil as a functional food ingredient in conquering the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, it is my great honor to have opportunity to involve in a program called Bakti Inovasi Indonesia under the lead of Professor Rimbawanto to get the national donation products with this cajeput candy. There are so many appreciation, but let me just share one comment from Bapak Ahmad Fahmi, the Mayor of Sukabumi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampurasun. Saya Ahmad Fahmi, Wali Kota Sukabumi, mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Profesor Hani Wijaya dari IPB yang beberapa waktu yang lalu memberikan dukungan kepada kami, kepada pemerintah Kota Sukabumi melalui gugus tugas atau Satgas penanganan COVID-19 dengan dukungan cajeput candy. Permen yang rasanya nih kayu putih banget, enak, segar. Alhamdulillah telah kami distribusikan kepada teman-teman khususnya tenaga kesehatan. Terima kasih Prof, sangat bermanfaat dan mudah-mudahan cajeput candy ini bisa menjadi cemilan dalam kerangka kita juga menghindarkan diri ikhtiar dari COVID-19 ini. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum.
I do apologize because I don't have the English version, but the summary is about his compliments about the products and also best wishes for the development of the products. So honestly said from the beginning that actually I don't develop this candy for the COVID purposes, because at that time the COVID has not yet exist. So the product itself comes from the idea, because as you know that I graduated from Japan, and there is a kind of custom in Japan. If we come to a place, we have to bring something like we call it omiyage, souvenir, and it is easier for me to find the souvenir from omiyage from Japan to Indonesia, but in vice versa, there is a challenge for bringing something, since mostly of the Indonesian souvenir is handicrafts, and they don't have space to put that kind of souvenir. So based on my backgrounds, I tried to find something to make a kind of handy and convenience products, food products, in this case functional confectionery, which is affordable for the price, but should be representing Indonesia. So I think about the local ingredients, and since my study is about flavor and bioactive compound, I try to find something with functional active compound inside, but the most important, it should be sensorically acceptable. And yes, the choice comes with this 𝐾𝐽 oil, since I know that from I was a child, I get used to with this nice aroma. So and thanks to God, based on the report of Ribawan for 2017, I know that is really Indonesian origin 𝐾𝐽 oil, because I use the Melaleuca kaju putih, the essential oil Melaleuca kaju putih, a subspecies kaju putih grown in Ambon, in Pulau Buru especially. The research itself started from 1996 and still ongoing now until now, with several kinds of purposes. But now it has already commercialized under the marks we call it 𝐾𝐽 candy, and is produced in industrial scales. Yeah, from 2010, it has been commercialized with the MD and halal, and under the cooperation with IFA for the market purposes. But yeah, it's not worked well. But in the case of the appreciation, we got a lot of awards, including 103, 106 Indonesian Prospective Innovation. We got the 𝐼𝐍𝐾 in 2012, ASEAN Food Product Recognition 2013, and Adibrata in 2018. And yes, a good thing I want to share with you, 2 months ago, it has already find a new partner. Hopefully with this one, we can make 𝐾𝐽 candy in the national market and also in international market as well. So now back to the topic. It is really, this candy is for COVID-19. As I mentioned before, I never imagined it happens because at the time, we don't have COVID-19, but based on the what we call the information that we got from eucalyptus, and we know also that 𝐾𝐽 oil has the main volatiles is 1,8-cinyl, or we call it eucalyptol or kajuputol. So it should be an anti-inflammation, and it has been reported for having efficacy for antivirus, including the corona viruses. And thanks to God that we got also information from the research team from Vietnam. Based on their evaluation using the docking simulation, it looks like that Melaleuca 𝐾𝐽 oils have inhibitory activities of COVID-19. So if we see here, not only the sinyls that have the efficacy, a lot of compounds that we found in eucalyptus Kajuput's oil, including the terpeneol, guaiacol, and also linalool, have a better power or anti-coronavirus activities comparing with the cineol itself. And based on this one, based on our research result, it looks like that this kind of compound is also still survive in the candy. And that is also one of the idea, because although we didn't I think we never claimed about this candy for the antivirus, especially for the COVID-19. There are lots of demands from the grassroots, that they find a lot of positive impact when they consume this candy to compete with the virus. So I think based on this kind of evidence and phenomena, maybe it's right, because the candy still have terpeneol, cineols, and also another kinds of compounds, volatile compounds, that is able to suppress the COVID-19 infection, especially as it mentioned here, when it's in synergistic interaction, it exhibits excellent inhibition. So that is one. And the other one, since the shape of this product is a candy, so the volatile will really slowly release, which gives long-lasting exposure. So I think this is also a benefit to have this candy to compete the COVID-19 virus. But the most important thing that I don't put it here because I never done with this one, but I really know, that's why from my childhood, including how to count the baby with the minyak telon, which is also in having the Kajuput's oil, as there are several compounds has been reported to give what we call is calmness effect. So a kind of impact that we need when we got the problem with the COVID-19, because you cannot breathe, you become very panicked and so on, and it gives a little bit release if you can get the kinds of compounds that make a calmness. Maybe that's one. And but from the food technologists, I should say that thanks to have a sugar contents in the candy. Why? Because yes, mostly the COVID-19 task force, especially the medicals, persons like nurses, doctors, and so on, they have very tight schedule in the pandemic. So sometimes they don't have proper times to take the meals, and also about all of the outfits, or I can call clothes, that is very difficult for them to get a normal food. So this handy and ready anytime sugar content maybe can be energy boosting, something like that. So yes, it's still we need a lot of works, but before that once, I have to apologize because I cannot also give better explanation about what is the Kajuput candy itself, how far it's safe or not. But we have already published several papers in several journals, in Q1, Q2, or open journals, and also in some book chapters that you can easily to access to get more information. If you need more help to get the access, please don't hesitate to let me know. I will share with you for the purpose of scientific collaboration, something like that. So, or maybe if you just need the information, please don't hesitate. With this one, I have to wrap up the one that I talked to in this presentation. So we have already find that is a kind of active compounds, especially the one which we do is for the oral care, for the lozenges, but hopefully also for anti-COVID-19. So the activities is there. So we can say that we found the novel flavor functional of cajeput oil can be approved, something like that. And we do believe that this cajeput essential oil from the Melaleuca cajuputi subspecies cajuputi is a potential result for non-timber forest production as our original functional flavor, because the cajeput oil aroma active compounds deliver a very good sensorical acceptability for some persons, especially nowadays. Everybody just looking for that ones, yeah. Maybe somebody who has already recovered from the COVID-19 also come with a kind of nostalgia, so they want to have that kind of flavor. But in case of the standard, we cannot use the standard of SNI for cajeput oil, because for the functional flavor, there is a special preferable flavor discriminants that have to be included in the cajeput oil to be possible utilization as a functional flavor. So we need another biomarker like alpha-pinene and so on. And yes, it's good that now we have the functional flavor of cajeput candy in many variants of candy, including hard candy, non-sucrose, soft candy, but mostly we just claim for lozenges. And maybe if we got already the prepare for the release from the Badan POM, we will also have the oral care activities. We are doing a lot with Professor 𝒊𝒏𝒈 from the University of Indonesia. He is from Faculty of Dentistry, and hopefully we will also find some collaborators for the anti-COVID-19, because we need the support from pharmacists, medical doctors, and so on, to make sure that we can claim this is really a anti-COVID-19 cajeput candy. But in the meanwhile, we just try to say this is only Indonesian lozenges. Maybe that is the one. With this, I want to stop my presentation because time is there. Once again, thank you very much for your attention. But in this opportunity, I would like to extend my deep gratitude to all of the students and researchers in biopharmaca, in IPB, and in my departments and many places. Also, I think including the institution of Prof. Ribawanto, and also to Prof. 𝒊𝒏𝒈 and research team. And also I have to acknowledge the competitive research grant from Indonesian government. Last but not least, I have to also extend my thanks to my technical assistant, Mbak Susi, Mbak Yunita, Mbak Bunga, for your never-ending support. With this one, I have to give back the floor to Prof. Budi Laksono. Please do apologize for the shortage, and I am ready for the question. Prof. Budi, time and floor is yours now.
Okay, thank you, Professor 𝐼𝐍𝐾𝐅𝐻. 𝒐𝒏𝒒𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒑𝒂𝒏 Okay, thank you, Professor Hani. She have a nice presentation related to the cajeput candy, and hopefully it will develop in the international market. And the information about the cajeput will be complete because Professor Anto will also give a presentation about cajeput, including the advantages of 1.8 phenol in kaju put in the next session. Okay, we move to the next presenter. The last presenter will be given by Dr. Tin Wahyuni. She is senior researcher on forest sociology at Center for 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 Forest Ecosystem Research and Development, Samarinda. She has graduated doctor degree from Social and Behavior Sciences, Leiden University, Netherlands, and the current research about non-carbon benefit priority of emission reduction program in East Kalimantan, improvement of livelihood and reduction of land conflict. And the highest achievement, she get the Indonesian Institute of Science of LIPI Award in 2018. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Tin Wahyuni. Time is yours. Please keep the times. Still mute? Bu Tin? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the time for me. May I share this presentation?
Okay, please.
Thank you, Professor Budi Laksono, for the chance and opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, all participants. I wish you are all in a good health. I would like to introduce myself. I am Tin Wahyuni, and I am from Center for 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 Forest Ecosystem Research and Development in Samarinda, East Kalimantan. I would like to share my presentation to you right now. So let's get started. My title presentation is the initial assessment of the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic on forest resilient and forest-dependent communities resilient in East Kalimantan. This presentation is a result of a case study. This case study represents a picture of situation in several places and almost problem in East Kalimantan and other provinces in Indonesia, especially in relation to the problem of land conflict and and communities' resilience. First, I'm going to explain the background of my presentation. The Indonesian government has declared the coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak as a national disaster. The pandemic became a ghost terrifying everybody in the last 2 years and has yet to end. Indonesia is in emergency response position to handling the COVID-19 pandemic, and Indonesia is also one of the most affected countries in Southeast Asia. To overcome the increasingly widespread of the virus, the government is intensifying of large-scale social restriction or PSBB and to enforce restriction on community activities or PPKM in early January 2021, and the restriction influence and effects on various sectors of the economy and the business world. The economic difficulties have been felt by almost all groups, including those that also have an impact on forest destruction. The pandemic affects forestry, and people or communities in many ways. The impacts of the pandemic on forest communities whose lives are completely dependent on land and forests that took place before the pandemic and were made worse during the pandemic. One serious concern of forest communities in Kalimantan has been inadequate food resources, especially who have limited access to agricultural land and resource rights that are critical for their survival, where they would be able to engage in farming and food cultivation. They have been struggling hard to survive on land and forests even long before the pandemic. Due to scarcity and food insecurity, they may leave the pellets in search of food and they are potentially infected. Resilience is defined as the ability of a system to maintain key function and processes in the face of stress by resisting and then recovering or adapting to changes or uncertainties of shocks, such as climate variability, pandemics, and other difficult circumstances. This also applies to the concept of stability in a study of forest-dependent communities. The aim of the study result can be useful for decision makers, policymakers, and also for those who are responsible for the socio-economic welfare and safety of forest communities. Let's move to next slide. In methods. Our main study sites were located in 5 villages, namely Muara Salung, Muara Kebak, Muara Tik, Muara Tubok, and Muara Blinang. The area of the 5 villages are called Sungai Lunuk, as a relocation area located in the Sidomulyo village. Sidomulyo village is the capital of Tabang Sub-District, Kutai Kertanegara District, and there are 19 villages of Tabang Sub-District, and all of villages are located outside the forest area according to state forest area status. Tabang Sub-District is located in the Production Forest Management Unit or KPHP, Unit 16 Watershed Belayan area. The area under KPHP Belayan is approximately 3/4 of the forest area in Kutai Kertanegara District. Primary and field data collection was carried out through field visit with semi-structured in-depth interviews with government and village officials and with 27 villages or respondents and guided by a list of topics that had been compiled previously. The collection of document and literature reviews and secondary data related to the role and governance of KPHP Belayan are supporting data in the next discussion. The survey aims to obtain specific information about strategies and ways to respond to local communities affected by the pandemic. Let's move the result and discussion. First, we are going to talk about the settlement history of villages in the Sungai Lunuk. In the 1970s to 1980s, one of the most obvious activities is fostering isolated communities in Kalimantan was the resettlement program for isolated communities or PKTM. The PKMT program was a program from the Ministry of Social Affairs, which was run during the New Order government by resettling or relocating isolated tribal communities to improve the social welfare of isolated communities to be able to achieve a standard of living equal to other Indonesian people. The PKMT program was also implemented in Tabang Sub-District during that period. This is based on the confession of one of Sungai Lunuk resident who stated that they are the third generation living in the relocation settlement. The relocation was carried out by a head of sub-district to facilitate the administration of the general election at that time. The Punan Dayak people from the 5 villages were collected and resettled in Sungai Lunuk settlement. The relocation area is measuring 3 kilometers times 7 kilometers, which consists 5 villages. The home area of villages of the 5 villages is located in the state forest area. To reach the home area takes about 3 hours by boat to travel to upper of Palah River or a tributary of the Belayan River, and then about 80 kilometers by car. The problem of this relocation village will later be related to the need for agricultural land for sitting cultivation and its relationship to food security and community resilience in face changes in difficult conditions before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. Second, we are going to talk about socio-economic of the 5 villages as study site. The majority of villages of Sungai Lunuk work on artisanal gold mining, swallow nest finder from a cave, agriculture and harvesting forest products such as rattan, gaharu, cutting the Borneo ironwood, and other wood for community houses and bridges. Mountain or upland rice is the main crop grown by farmers in shifting cultivation, beside maize, vegetable, cassava, and local fruits. Other livelihood activities include animal husbandry, mainly swallow nest cultivation, raising cattle, fishing in rivers, rattan craftsmen, and hunting, which provide additional income. The resilience of community who rely heavily on forest resources to earn a living is strongly influenced by their capital or livelihood assets. The diversification of livelihood source makes people not dependent on one source of livelihood, so that if a disaster occurs, the community can use other resources of livelihood to meet their daily needs. And then we are talking about forest resilience at study site. The increasing pressure of negative impacts on forest resilience is strongly influenced by several disturbances associated with climate change, such as forest fire, forest exploitation, and pollution, and forest ecosystem management practices. The 𝐏𝐵 manages forest area of about 1 million hectares, and a large portion of the forest area already has been granted for timber product utilization in natural forests and plantation forests, about 68% of the forest area. This map shows that the permit for logging companies in natural forest, plantation forests also permit for mining. The granting of concession permit occupy almost the entire area will accelerate the fragmentation of existing natural forests. An important recommendation for the government to consider in granting new permits for the use of the forest, even though the forestry and forest-based sector have opportunity and play a very important role in providing solution for economic recovery from the pandemic. How about community resilience during the pandemic? Community dependence on agricultural land for food security due to the social restriction affects the resilience of community in many ways, including food scarcity and other needs. Forests are urgently needed for the most vulnerable members of society facing challenges and changes, such as during floods and droughts, as well as during pandemic. Agricultural land becomes a very crucial need for forest communities as their food sources to survive. Most of residents of Sungai Lunuk and other villages in Tabang sub-district are still clearing young secondary forests for farming land. Villagers are still able to carry out activities outside their home and around the forest during pandemic, but in the case of 5 villages, they have limited land for silting cultivation. Villagers of Sungai Lunuk must obtain permission from the village head or village official or resident of Sidomulyo village when opening or creating new fields or use forest resources. And community dependence on land for settlement, village autonomy, infrastructure-based, and economic diversity. In the context of forest management in East Kalimantan, the area of the village are still heavily influenced by custom and tradition. When the population of the village begins to grow denser and the land possesses is narrower because it's divided among their peers, the community tries to find a new location which grows to become a settlement, preliminary village, and definitive village. The problem that often arises in the 5 relocated villages are land claim and the old village boundaries that have been abandoned. In addition, the number of residents in the 5 villages is increasing, so the need for land is also increasing. And livelihood from forest and land resources. The communities is the 5 study villages are mostly small rural farmers, which are characterized by a diversity of livelihood sources and dependence on natural resources. There are about 15 companies that carry out activities in the 𝒊𝒏𝒔𝒊𝒏𝒈 area, and moreover, immigrant communities are interested in getting involved in finding gold in traditional minings around the village. This indicates that the level of mobility of people in and out of the area around the village is quite high. So there is a possibility of being infected with virus. Although information about the number of people infected with COVID-19 do not yet exist and were reported at the time the research took place on October 2020, however, the latest information is that there have been fatalities that have been died due to exposure to COVID-19. And then finally, let's move to conclusion. First, healthy forests, trees, and biodiversity are critical and an integral part of establishing economies and supporting the resilience of communities on study sites and reducing their vulnerability to stresses related to difficult circumstances such as pandemic, climate change, and other adversities. Efforts to maintain the right balance between the environment, climate, and people will increase the resilience of forests and their people. And second, the special characteristics of the landscape, environmental degradation, and public awareness of the difficult condition are very important because if the linkages are known, local communities can actively manage natural resources to increase their resilience. Intervention related to forests and trees should take this aspect into account to make ecosystem services a valuable option for integrated strategies to reduce disaster risk and vulnerabilities. Third, forest resources can be managed while maintaining sustainability through management that involve local peoples with recognition of rights by the government to forest resource management. That's all I want to share. Thank you for listening and attention. And time and floor giving to Pak Budi Laksono. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Tin. Very interesting presentation related to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on forest resilient and forest dependent communities. Okay, let's get into the question and answer session. We only have 15 minutes, and now there are already 3 questions. The first question for Ibu Prof. Rohani from Ibu Donna Octavia. The question is, what we know, where can we get the original marketed product? Okay, please, Bu Hani.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I do hope the committee doesn't charge me for giving this information. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ibu Donna. So yeah, actually, it's already marketed in several market several shop, but it's limited ones because we have already get a kind of difficulties to produce this one in a big amount now, since we don't have ability to market it in more amounts. So at several years from 2015, we do by ourselves by using the maclone. Yeah. So unfortunately, we changed the maclones. The industry which we can cooperate to produce the candy due to the limited amount. And we changed the maclone. We lose our what we call formal eligibility. We lose our MD, we lose our halal, so we just prepare for very limited markets. But yeah, by discuss of the blessing of discussion with the COVID-19, I really don't know what happened, but it's now become a very famous product in resellers market. Like I think I'm not get used to, because I already 16 years old, so I get not used to with what we call is virtual market. But you can find it very easy in Tokopedia or in some marketplace, something like that, due to the resellers. But from ourselves, we have only in Bogor, like 𝐏𝐡, Pajajaran, and Botani cafe, or I think in also some store like Al-Amin, and then we have also in Bogor Permai, something like that. But mostly, yeah, they just come with me with the virtual market, something
online
like that.
side,
Yeah, but now maybe you will come a little bit difficult because it's already disappear from the markets because we don't make it anymore since we got another new partner. So yeah, unfortunately. But if you want to have something, just let me know. I get some small amount of
You can send to Ibu Donna.
Yeah. So please let me know your address.
Okay, thank you, Bu Hani. I think we visit the Kajiput candies. It's like eucalypt candy in Australia. It's very famous in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the second question addressed to Ibu Sasa. The question is, what is the difference between bioprospecting and plant breeding strategies in the implementation of research or work? Bu Sasa, time is yours.
Yes. Thank you to Pak Budi Laksono. And nice question, Ibu Titis Sutama. What is the differences between the bioprospecting and the breeding strategy? That's the question, right? As I've already mentioned in my slides, that bioprospecting is a system to search the bioactive compound. So the highlight is the searching system to find the bioactive compound. That's the keyword. And then after we find the bioactive compound, then the breeding strategy will involve to increase the quality, or to increase the quality of the biocompound in the individual tree. It means by breeding strategy, we are looking for the individual that genetically improve the content of that biocompound, such as Cajuput oil. Nah, that's from the Cajuput species. By the such of full diel hybridization and also the selection, it's proof increasing the rendement and the content of the sineol. And I think that a good examples for this technique of the breeding and the biotechnology. Maybe it's enough clear, Pak Budi.
Yeah, I think so. Just need additional information about biospecific. Usually we talk about it at the species level, but in the breeding strategy, we improve the characterization of the character will be improved to be better. Just like that. Okay, thank you, Bu Sasa. And the third question to come back to Ibu Hani. Question from Bapak Asep Wiganda. He said the question is, I am currently in the preparation state of for eucalyptus oil production. Can I get development support for my business? Currently, I have planned 15 hectares of eucalyptus as raw material. Okay, Bu Hani, please.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations for Pak Asep Wiganda because you now will become a big businessman. So actually, it will be very happy to have this one. If I have my own company. Yeah, now the problem is the what you call it, the product itself has been belong to the IPB's partner. So the one that I can do is to introduce the eucalyptus that you have. Usually we don't use the eucalyptus, but you use the Melaleuca kaju putih. So it's according to I think Pak Rimbawan, I forgot, it's the same family but different genus, something like that. Yes, and also we have to check first. This is based on our experience when we have a problem with the mining in Pulau Buru. We don't have enough raw material for the flavor, the kajuput oil flavor. And when we try to use another sources, it looks like it's not so easy because it's not compatible for the aroma and the taste quality. So we have to check once again the oil, if this is also already from the Melaleuca, and knowing whether it doesn't have quote unquote unacceptable compounds from the perspective of aroma and taste, and then it has what we call is aroma biomarker like 𝐸𝐿 and the one that I have already mentioned before. But don't worry, because based on my knowledge that the market for kajuput oil is still open. But if that is really the eucalyptus oil, so I think the Ministry of Agriculture also doing a lot. Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe additional information about both species. Melaleuca and eucalyptus is different genus and different species, but both species contain 1.8 sineol, but different content. But so that this is maybe clear about the differences of both species. Okay, thank you, Bu Hani. And the last question.
Not only the sineol for the flavor, we need another compounds.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes,
that is the difference. Maybe.
Yeah. And the taste is also aromatic, also different. Again, the last question addressed to Ibu Tin. The question is, from the initial settlement of community in the forest area, how we could overcome the conflict of interest between human and forest ecosystem. Ibu Tin, please. Time is yours.
Thank you for the nice question. As we know, forests are very closely related to community activities around forests. area, and some rules and policies are deliberately made for the welfare of the community and maintain long-term sustainability, and as part of efforts to overcome land and tenure conflicts that have occurred occurred before and during the pandemic, as well as community demand from in study sites, with the empowerment programs and community empowerment program and social forestry can be an option for resolving land conflicts. I think in many production forest management or KPHP, not only in its Kalimantan, also in other provinces, they have a large area of forest, and I think they also have limitation and to ability to manage a wide area and resources, and therefore community involvement to join manage forest area is needed. And KPHP also many KPHP also in Kalimantan, they're trying to implement government development policies that are oriented towards community-based forest management, and we call it social forestry, with 5 programs with community forest scheme, village forest scheme, community plantation forest, customary forest, and the forestry partnership. The all scheme involves villages in the KPH management area, and regarding the social forestry program, offer KPHP continues to carry out socialization activities for social forestry program and institutional strengthening of forest farmer groups, we call kelompok tani hutan, in villages in their working areas. This is an ongoing process, and I think if Indonesia tangguh and Indonesia tumbuh, masyarakat tangguh, masyarakat juga akan sejahtera. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Butin. Ladies and gentlemen, time is up. Hopefully, all questions have been clearly answered by the presenter. However, if you the participant have another question, can be submitted through the chat room, and later will be answered by the presenter concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close the session, I will convey a resume for the presentation of the invited speaker, which can be summarized by several main points as follows. First, studies on the bioprospecting of forest plants have been carried out to uncover promising medicinal plants. This utilization will benefit nature conservation and biodiversity, requiring the use of breeding and biotechnology of medicinal plants. Second, development of home industry to manufacture product diversification using natural elements from the forest is an option to boost economic growth. This will encourage the utilization of abundant natural forest resources as an environmentally friendly forest commodity. And third, in the face of pandemic, climate change, and other global challenges, healthy forests are critical to building resilient economic and communities that support community resilience and reduce vulnerability to stress-related circumstances. Management of forest areas that involve the community and local management rules is one solution for good forest management. That's all. Again, thank you to invited speaker for sharing with us, and also for audience to join in this session. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them great applause. The next event will be guided by Master of Ceremony, Ibu Istiana, please, time is yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Budi, for leading such a nice discussion. Now we all, Prof. Budi, could you please stay here for the photo session, please? Yeah. So now we will have a photo session for all of 3 invited speakers and moderator. So, yeah. Okay, ready? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Budi. And yeah, the organizing committee would like to present the certificate of appreciation to all of the invited speakers. So we would like to thank to Dr. Sri Sunarti. The next appreciation will go to Professor Dr. Christopher Haniwijaya. Okay. And we also would like to thank Dr. Tin Wahyuni. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to give away prize announcement. We will have 2 different categories for this session. The first category is the giveaway for the participant with the best question. Unfortunately, we only have 2 winners today for this session. The winner are, let me check, Mr. 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒆 Utama. And the next winner is Mr. Asep Wiganda. Congratulations for all the winners, and the organizing committee will contact you. And for the second category, we will have a lucky participant. So we will have Mbak Maya to lead this session. Please, Mbak Maya. Yeah, she will lead this session in Bahasa Indonesia.
Terima kasih kepada Bu Istiana. Mohon izin Bapak Ibu semuanya, kali ini saya akan menemani Bapak Ibu semuanya dalam acara Door Prize Giveaway. Mudah-mudahan Bapak Ibu semuanya yang sudah hadir dari pagi, yang sudah mulai lapar atau mungkin ngantuk, kita bisa refresh sejenak untuk kali ini. Ya, kali ini panitia INAFOR Stream 5 akan menginformasikan bahwasanya untuk presenter partisipan yang telah hadir pada hari ini, pada acara kali ini, akan berhak untuk menjadi peserta terpilih, peserta beruntung dengan kualifikasi. Yang pertama, pesertanya aktif, kemudian beliau mengisi link daftar absensi. Jangan lupa itu, bagi yang belum mendaftar silahkan mengisi link daftar absensinya. Dan kita minta bantuannya tim panitia, kita bantu, kita acak, kita hitung mundur ya. 3, 2, 1. Iya, siapakah ini namanya? Profesor Dr. Insinyur Muji Susanto MP. Terima kasih kepada Prof. Dr. Muji Susanto. Mohon izin kami sampaikan kembali, pesertanya harus aktif sehingga mohon kepada partisipan, Prof. Muji, bisa raise hand, Prof. Apabila masih aktif saat ini. Panitia bisa dibantu. Apabila beliau sedang tidak aktif, kita akan acak kembali. Sudah aktif, Bapak?
Masih.
Masih, alhamdulillah. Terima kasih Prof. Muji. Kebetulan beliau juga peneliti di kantor Balai Besar Litbang. Terima kasih kehadirannya. Selamat Bapak beruntung. Terima kasih. Dua
Sama-sama.
peserta lainnya, iya terima kasih Prof. Muji. Dua peserta lainnya kami undang kembali kepada panitia. Kami persilakan kita hitung mundur. 3, 2, 1. Tarat, nama siapa ini? Bapak Darsono. Terima kasih Bapak Darsono. Mohon bisa raise hand atau say hello. Bapak Darsono, selamat siang.
Halo, selamat siang.
Masih aktif aja Bapak. Baik. Iya, alhamdulillah. Dari mana Bapak?
Klaten, Jogja.
Klaten, Jogja, alhamdulillah. Terima kasih Bapak sudah setia di INAFOR Stream 5. Terima kasih, nanti akan diinformasikan hadiahnya oleh panitia. Terima kasih. Bagi yang belum beruntung masih ada undian 1 kali lagi. Kami persilakan panitia. 3, 2, 1. Iya. Warna kuning siapakah namanya? Bapak Surepto. Pak Surepto, iya. Saya panggil, Bapak masih aktif, ya? Bisa raise hand atau bersuara? Masih aktif? Panitia bisa bantu? Enggak ada? Saya tunggu sampai hitungan ketiga. Bapak Surepto, 1, 2, 3. Ternyata beliau sudah tidak aktif lagi, sudah tidak online, tidak standby untuk siang ini. Kita acak lagi. Silakan panitia. 3, 2, 1. Putar terus. Nama siapakah ini? Ya. Ibu Reni Setiawahyu Tias SHUT MSC. Ibu Reni, selamat siang. Masih aktif Ibu?
Masih Bu.
Iya, alhamdulillah. Selamat siang Ibu. Dari mana Ibu? Selamat siang. Bu Reni dari mana Ibu? Kota mana Ibu?
Dari Banjarbaru Bu.
Banjarbaru. Iya. Terima kasih partisipasinya Ibu. Mudah-mudahan nanti masih ada presentasi berikutnya. Tetap stay tune di acara INAFOR Stream 5. Terima kasih kehadirannya. Bagi Bapak Ibu yang sudah mengisi daftar hadir, ternyata namanya belum beruntung dan diputar pada sesi kali ini, jangan berkecil hati karena di akhir acara kita akan masih ada door prize lagi di belakang. Jadi mohon tetap stay tune di channel ini. Terima kasih. Waktu dan tempat saya kembalikan ke Mbak Istiana. Silakan.
Thank you, Dek Maya. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now we are having a chat program with more interesting topic with Professor Rina Laksmi-Hendrati as the leader of this session. Professor Rina Laksmi-Hendrati is a research professor of Center for Forest Biotechnology and Tree Improvement. She obtained her PhD in 2009 from the School of Plant Biology of University of Western Australia, and her expertise is breeding of food for energy and breeding for extreme environment. Prof. Rina, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Istiana. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, your spirit is still on right now due to the award that just be given by the organizing committee. Okay, welcome back to the second session of presentation for Stream 5, the INAFOR 2021 with the theme Cutting COVID Transmission, Handling Health and Economic Impacts. For the next 1 hour and 45 minutes, we will listen to 5 speakers, which each of them will have 10 minutes talk. And then at the end, it will be ended with about 25 minutes of discussion. So please stay tuned. Now let's jump to the first presenter, which will be Ibu Rahimah-Yuni Fatmi Noran MSc from 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 Forest Ecosystem Research and Development Center. And the topic that will be presented by her is the potential and distribution of 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒊𝒏𝒈 as anti-COVID-19 plants in East Kalimantan Province, Indonesia. However, I would like to briefly give her curriculum vitae. She graduated from Master in Forest Management IBB University Indonesia, and right now a researcher in 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏 Research Center, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Current research mostly are about the carbon monitoring and also conservation of mangrove. Okay, again, I want to remind the presenter, 10 minutes please. The time is yours, Bu Rahimah-Yuni.
Thank you, Dr. Rina, for the kindness and good introduction. Thank you very much for the time and opportunity given to us to present at the great event. I ask permission from my seniors in this session too. There is Dr. Enos and others. To shorten the time, we will share a screen, but I apologize. To reduce internet network usage, allow me to turn off the video. Okay.
Still in progress. Hopefully there will be no technical problem. We are right now waiting for the video from Ibu Rahimani. Ibu Rahimah-Yuni has started screen sharing. Hopefully it will appear soon. Finger crossed.
Yeah, I apologize. This internet network usage in our office is very heavy.
Okay, we are waiting. It's all right. Take your time.
Okay.
Is it possible that it is the team over here who will share the video? If it is possible, just hand it out to our committee.
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay then. Okay. Thanks. Okay, it seems it works. Just wait.
Thank you for the official for the share screen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the time that given to us to present our research with the title Potential and Distribution of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕 and 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒈 as anti-COVID-19 plans in East Kalimantan Province, Indonesia. With the research team, I am Rahimah Yuni Fatmi Nuraan, Carmila Santi, and Catur Budiwiati. Next. Our research backgrounds are the use of forest plants as traditional medicine has long been practiced by people all over the world, including in Indonesia. Related to the corona pandemic that has occurred throughout the world, including Indonesia, for the last 2 years, local communities in East Kalimantan Province have also used forest plants as traditional medicine to treat diseases caused by the COVID-19 virus. 2 types of forest plants that are sought after by local communities in East Kalimantan are 𝒕𝒂𝒏, commonly called laban, and 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒊𝒏𝒈, commonly called sungkai. Laban is believed to contain phytochemical that can relieve symptoms associated with patients who are infected with the SARS-CoV virus, such as fever, cough, aches, pains, and dysentery. And sungkai leaves are used by the Tunjung Dayak community in Lamin Telihan and Lamin Pulut villages in Kanohan district to treat fever, and sungkai root to treat ache and pains. Given a dose of medicine in the form of sungkai leaves with a dose of 0.5 mg per kilogram body weight was able to increase growth immunity by increasing leukocyte 36%. Information on the potential and distribution of medicinal plants for anti-COVID-19 from forest resources is very important to know, but there is limited data and information on this research. So this research is to determine the potential and distribution of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕 and 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒈 as anti-COVID-19 plants in East Kalimantan Province. Next. This is our plot design and data collecting. This research was conducted between 2019 to 2020 in secondary dryland forest cover in East Kalimantan with a purposive sampling technique. The plot is nested in a rectangular shape by referring to SNI 77 to 24, 2011 years as a reference. The main plot is rectangular with a size of 20 meter to 100 meter. Descriptive statistics methods such as densities, frequencies, and stand potential were used to analyze the data collected for species of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕 and 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒈 within each sample in plot. Next. Our result and discussion is consists of floristic composition and potential and distribution of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕 and 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒈. Next. This is our result about floristic composition of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕. Since 2019 to 2020, 34 sample plots have been established for the inventory of 𝒕𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒕 in the secondary dryland forest in East Kalimantan. The 34 plots are located in 𝒉𝒂𝒏 village, in Pasteur Regency, Lohar Special Purpose Forest Area in Kutai Kartanegara Regency, Kutai National Park in East Kutai Regency, and Sungai Wen Protected Forest in Balikpapan City. The number of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 trees according vegetation levels at the research location can be seen at the table below. Next. This is the result from floristic composition of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 since 2019 to 2020. 27 sample plots have been established for the inventory of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 in the secondary dryland forest of East Kalimantan. The 27 plots are located in 𝒉𝒂𝒏 village at Pasteur Regency, Rantau Layung village in Pasteur Regency, and Suhartos Hill Forest Park in Kutai Kartanegara Regency. The number of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 trees according vegetation levels at the research location can be seen at the table below. Data analysis resulted that from the total of 27 sample plots were established at the research site, 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 was found in 26 sample plots. On the research plot in Suhartos Hill Forest Park, has the highest total number of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 trees. This is because in the Suhartos Hill Forest Park, in that area has been used as a forest plantation ecosystem as a rehabilitation effort, with one species of plant is 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻. Next. This is our result from potential and distribution of 𝒕𝒂𝒏. The largest distribution of diameter classes is in the 20 to 29.9 centimeter diameter, with total of 26 trees. The trees with diameter class above 40 centimeter and seedling level were not found. It is because the competition for the tree canopy from other tree species on the site. Based on the calculation of the stand volume in the research area, obtained about 19.66 cubic meter. The largest stand volume was found at the tree level vegetation with a diameter above 20 centimeter, and the smallest stand volume was at the sapling vegetation level. The number of trees, volume, and potential volume of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 according diameter classes at the research plot can be seen at the table below. Next. This is our result from potential and distribution of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻. The largest distribution of diameter classes is in the 10 to 19.9 diameter class with total of 25 trees. The largest stand volume was found at the tree level vegetation with a diameter above 20 centimeter, and the smallest stand volume was at the seedling and sapling vegetation level. Based on the calculation of the stand volume in the research area, obtained about 8.99 cubic meter. The number of trees, volume, and potential volume of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 according diameter classes at the research plot can be seen at the table below. Next. And from our research, we can conclude that there are 54 individuals of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 found at the research plot, and based on density, the distribution of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 at the study site was more commonly found at the pole vegetation level. There are 66 individuals of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 found at the research plot, and based on density, the distribution of 𝒓𝒂𝒏 𝐾𝐻 at the study site was more commonly found at the seedling and sapling levels. The stand volume of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 in the research plot was 19.66 cubic meter, with the average of potential volume was 3.61 cubic meter per hectare, and the highest potential was at the pole level. The stand volume of peronemacanic jack in the research plot was 8.99 cubic meter, with an average of potential volume was 3.22 cubic meter per hectare, and the highest potential was at the pole level at 5.26 cubic meter per hectare. So, based on the research result, the presence of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 and peronemacanic jack trees in secondary dryland forest in East Kalimantan can be a genetic resource for the cultivation of 𝒕𝒂𝒏 and peronemacanic jack as anti-COVID-19 plants in East Kalimantan. That's all we can present. Time return to moderator. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ibu Rahima Yuni. You are on time, 10 minutes, a good use of time. In general, we are very happy to hear that you still concerned about 2 species, which is actually very limited because the numbers only less than 100. Hopefully, it can be preserved and even developed. Okay, now we turn now to the second presenter, and I will try to read the curriculum vitae about him. The second presenter will be Professor Risa Dr. Insinyur Anto Rimbawanto, MAGRSC. He got his PhD from Australian National University in Canberra, Australia. And right now, he became the researcher at the Center for Forest Biotechnology and Tree Improvement Ministry of Forestry, with a research interest on molecular genetics, conservation of genetic resources, and tree breeding. Right now, his activity on research is about the timber tracking, DNA timber tracking, and then reducing the disease, Ganoderma and Ceratocystis, then also on breeding for Melaleuca kajubut. Okay, for the next 10 minutes, the time is yours. Please, Pak Anto.
Thank you, Ibu Rina, moderator, and good afternoon, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to be part of this important seminar. And I'm interested in this particular stream 5 because of my involvement in Kaciput oil research. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make a disclaimer. I am no expert on public health, nor pharmacology, nor essential oil chemistry. I'm just, my academic interest is in forest genetics, and I became interested in Kaciput trees and conducted a series of studies since 1995, particularly to increase the genetic quality of the trees, namely 1.8 semiol, oil content, and oil yield. So this is not an actual work. My presentations covering Kaciput oil role in COVID-19, particularly based on published literature at the time of what that is available at the time of my presentation. As a way of introduction, at the beginning of the pandemic, herbal medicines, including essential oil, received great attention from the public. Some health experts recommend people to consume herbal to boost the immune system. Essential oil, such as Kachiputi and eucalypt oil, has also been cited as having beneficial effects on preventing as well as recovering from COVID-19 infection. So if you read the newspaper at the beginning of the pandemic, there's a lot of testimonial statement from people who are infected by COVID-19 that they feel better after inhaling Kaciput oil or drinking water with a few drops of Kaciput oil. But that's all what we can see as far as the importance of or the role of Kaciput oil in COVID-19. there was no scientific evidence. There's even claim and counterclaims about whether or not kachiput or eucalypt oil can help in the recovery of COVID-19 or stop the infection. You might remember there was something called calum eucalyptus, which was very popular at the time of the pandemic, but it's slowly disappearing now. So let's just continue with what is essential oil. This is important to understand that kachiput, as well as other herbal oils, is what is normally called essential oil. It's a complex natural mixtures of volatile secondary metabolites that are extracted from plants by hydro or steam distillation. Now, the key constituents of essential oil includes monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes, as well as phenylpropanoids, which include carbohydrates, alcohols, ethers, aldehydes, and others. Essential oils and their constituents have been studied and show some pharmacological effects such as anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, antiviral, and anti-carcinogenic properties, and others. Let's have a look at the eucalyptus oil, because this species or this oil was very popular in the beginning of the pandemic. Now, eucalyptus oil, eucalyptus is actually a forest tree. It's a member of the Myrtaceae family, as you can see from the genus Eucalyptus. And there are more than 900 species of eucalyptus. Most of them are native to Australia. But as far as oil is concerned, only about 20 species have been identified as giving enough oil to be commercially productive. And the whole output comes from less than 10 species of eucalyptus, in particular Eucalyptus camargulensis, Eucalyptus globalis, Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus polybractea, and Eucalyptus camargulensis. Kachiput, on the other hand, is also a member of Myrtaceae, the same family as eucalyptus. It is also an essential oil producer, 1.8 senior base. And interestingly about kachiput is that this is native to Eastern Indonesian islands of Buru, Ambon, and Seram. Now, according to SNE, the Indonesian Industrial Standard, kachiput oil is oil that is obtained by distilling the leaves of kachiput plant, which is Melaleuca species. So when we say something about kachiput oil, it has to be extracted from kachiput plants. So therefore, it's clear that any confusions about eucalyptus oil being kachiput oil is scientifically unfounded. We cannot call kachiput oil as eucalyptus oil, and vice versa, we cannot call kachiput oil as eucalyptus oil. This slide shows a mosaic of activities in kachiput oil production, from seedlings to plantations to oil extraction or distillation. There are lots of small-scale oil distillery, particularly in the islands of Buru and Seram, as well as modern distillery in Java, Bima, and West Nusa Tenggara. And in the last 2 years, we have established a number of small holders plantations of kachiput in 5 different districts across the islands of Indonesia. So there will be more and more small-scale distillery in Indonesia. Now, allow me to show you a little bit of the Indonesian kachiput oil industry. Indonesian kachiput oil industry comes from 2 sources. One is from natural stands in Buru, Seram, and Ambon, and second is from plantations, mainly in Java. There are about more than 30,000 hectares of kachiput plantations in Java. Unfortunately, the supply on or the productions of this oil is only about 600 tons annually, whereas the demand is exceeding 3,500 tons. So therefore, to fill the gap, Indonesia has to import more than 3,000 tons of eucalyptus oil to mix blend with catchwood oil. So the gap of catchwood oil supply is partly because of the low productivity of catchwood plantation. Now, to address the issue or increasing the productivity of the plantation, we have conducted a series of studies to improve genetic quality, particularly 1.0 content and oil yield. And nowadays, superior seeds or elite seeds are available for plantation, ranging from its yield of 1.2 to 2.2% and a phenol content of up to 67%. As compared to the unimproved seeds, the yield is only 0.6 to 1%. It's important to understand that although both of these are 1.0 content, eucalyptus and catchwood has different essential oils. There are some similarities, but there are also a lot of differences between these two. So the compound 1.8-cineol is also known as eucalyptol. If you read something about eucalyptol, that's probably referring to 1.8-cineol, or it's also called catechitol. So therefore, there should be no confusion about what is 1.8-cineol. There's been a lot of study to show the benefit of this oil, the essential oil. There's a lot of study looking at the antiviral activities of catchwood oil or eucalyptus oil. But as far as COVID-19 is concerned, there's only a few studies that was published recently, probably only about 2 or 3 publications. 2 of them dealing with Eucalyptus globulus, and only 1 deals with catchwood. The molecular docking study or computational study, as was mentioned by the keynote speakers in the morning, is a common approach in order to develop medicinal properties. So, unfortunately, there's been no clinical reports that demonstrate the efficacy of 1.0 against COVID-19. But several reviews discuss the potential as antiviral co-infection approach.
2 more minutes, Pak Anto.
By Sharma and Carl in 2020, show the reported a potential inhibitor of COVID-19 infection by molecular docking study. And recently, in 2021, a publication from Vietnam looking specifically at milliliter catchwood oil using molecular docking, and found that there are at least 10 compounds that have the strongest interactions on the selected proteins that are most powerful inhibitory activity for SARS-CoV-2. And 1.8-cineol is not the most powerful one. According to this study, the most powerful one in order is terpineol, then followed by quiol, linalol, cineol, and others. So this shows that there's more than 1.8-cineol that if this essential oil is useful against COVID-19, that can be useful to do for the study. So I'd like to finish my presentation here with a take-home message. Although some computational molecular docking studies reveal promising results, there are no publications linked to clinical studies to substantiate claims of essential oils, notably eucalyptus or catchwood oil, as having effectiveness in preventing or curing infection of COVID-19. Second, eucalyptus oil is not catchwood oil. and vice versa, Kaciput oil is not liquid oil. There is no silver bullet to stop the spread of the virus, but combinations of factors can prevent people from being infected. Vaccination, wearing face masks, social distancing, wash hands regularly, and avoid crowded places. With all, I'd like to finish the presentations, and thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Anton. Very, very interesting research findings. And we all have known long before about the function or although there is no clinical trial, but people have used kayu putih for healing. So hopefully the next time it will be more findings that can be useful for other diseases. Okay, thank you very much. Now we will come to the third speaker. Please stick with the time, 10 minutes. So the third speaker will be Professor 𝐏𝐡 𝐃, PhD. Directly, I will read his curriculum vitae. He got his PhD from Kyushu University, and then Master and Bachelor from Mula Warman University. Right now, he is a professor in Natural Product Chemistry and Forestry Faculty of Mula Warman University. And then research activities usually about herbal medicine, about isolating active compound, and also resource protection of herbal from the forest. Okay, Professor Enos, for the next 10 minutes, the time is yours, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the introducing me. So I'm very sorry, so my camera is not working well, and I will close the camera so my signal or my Wi-Fi can be smoothly. Okay, so this is my title, Stingless Bee Honey from the Forest for Health Benefit. So this is my research team, and okay, this is my content of the talk, introduction, stingless bee culture, and also honey for health benefit and conclusion. So this is my introduction. As we know, Indonesia is one of the world tops biodiversity. So we have many kind of biodiversity belongs to Indonesia. One of them is stingless bee. This is the stingless bee. This is the sting bee. So you can compare the between stingless bee and also the apis bee or sting bee. So very rich country in Indonesia and used biodiversity, especially a stingless bee. I talk here or talk now. So yeah, the use of biodiversity, especially in the forest, because I am from the forest faculty of Mula Warman University, we are trying to find out the added value of non-timber forest product, which is increase the economic value and also welfare for, especially for people near the forest. And we know sometimes not only the plant, but also some ingredients is mixed in the traditional medicine. For example, jamu. So as you know, jamu has two main functions, health and also for beauty. Today I will talk about the health function of the jamu. So I'm talking now about the stingless bee culture. So I got some grant 2017 to 2018 by the Kyoto University collaborating with LIPI. So we went to some farmer cultivate the stingless bee. So like in Tarakan, Sangatta, Bontang, Samarinda, Balikpapan, and also Penajam. And this is the farm. For example, Chokro Farms. He has three species, and also this is others in Chinese farm in Tarakan. Yeah, he has some of the 5 yeah, he has 5 species there. And here in Penajam, Sari Palms, yeah, he has 4 species here to cultivate, and also Balikpapan on the one, Pak Didi, and also in Samarinda, Rendri has around 8 already identified. Maybe some more is not yet identified. So this is one of the prospecting. So 𝐏𝐻𝐻 ╠ the pot of the honey is very big. Sometimes one pot is about 40 milli. Others is very small, like 1 milli or 5 milli, the maximum. But this one is very big. That's why I'm taking the picture, and because very unique. So this is in Bontang, Pak Rendar's farm. It has like 3 species. And this is in Bengalon, Sangata Pak Musin farms. It has 4 species there. And yeah, during my our study, we collect about identify about 12 species in North Kalimantan and East Kalimantan melon stingless bee culture. You can read in detail in our published article 2022-20. This is Guide in Biodiversity. So here I will talk about the honey for health benefit. One is, before I talk about it, so I will show you how different between honey, propolis, and bee pollen of stingless bee compared with sting bee or apis bee. Apis bee is put the honey, propolis, and bee pollen in regular places like this one in comb, but the stingless bee is very irregular pot honey here. You can see there is no regular one. You just put here and there bee pollen and also the honey in the pot. This is honey in the pot, and this is bee pollen in the pot, and this is the propolis. Even the honey pot and also the pot of the bee pollen also covered by the propolis. Here also the propolis to cover the whole. So it might be the insect cannot enter in this hive. So the unique taste of the honey is sweet and sour, but sometimes sweet, sour, and also bitter is included. So here one example. This is honey. This is from one species, Homotrigona itama honey. So different location, also different color of the honey, and then this is one place, one location, but different species. Of course, it will be different also color of the honey and also the taste. So here the function, Rao et al. Says that many function of the general honey. You can see here you can see many kind of function of the honey. This is general honey, including stingless bee and also apis bee or sting bee. So this is our result of my experiment with my colleagues. So stingless bee versus cancer cell line. So this is honey. This is using in vitro experiment, MTT assay. So the purple is living cell, clear is dead cell. So I counted. So Homotrigona fimbriata, so it's very strong to inhibit or kill or cytotoxicity effect on cells. This is NCF7 cells or breast cancer cell. So this is the living cell about 30%. So you can see about 60 or 70% is killed by this honey. And this is the HeLa cell, cervical cancer cell, and also colon cancer cell, CIFOR2. So Homopimbriata also killing the cell about almost 60%, and also like in colon cancer, so about almost above the 50%. This is the result. You can find in the Saudi Journal Biological Science. This is impress publication. So others, we try to find out if the stingless bee honey can inhibit the enzyme or ICA2, which is activate the receptor of the cell in human cell that receive the spike protein of the COVID-19, or we using SARS-CoV-2 viruses to evaluate this one, and we found that this honey can inhibit the ICA2 enzyme, which can inhibit the activity of receptor to taking the spike protein of the viruses. So this, you can see this one, yeah, almost 100% and also 30%. Some of the honeys also inhibit 30% or inhibit the enzyme 80%. So next, I'll show you about the stingless bee versus antioxidant. We evaluate with my students. So we taking the every month of the honey of Itama honey. So we evaluate the antioxidant of this honey. So you can see the variation of the antioxidant. So this is very important for the farmer. So they can take the honey from, for example, June to September, which is high on antioxidant. Compare also in December, compare the other months. So this is 1 year's study of antioxidant of the stingless bee, especially Itama. So this is the stingless bee versus antibacterial. We compare with some bacteria. For example, this is mutans, this is E. coli, and this is acne. This is anti-jerawat, for example, yeah, acne for jerawat in Indonesia. E. coli is diarrhea. Mutan is for the mold bacteria. So we can compare different location. One is paddy field, forest area, and also farm oil state, and also urban area. The strongest one is honey from the paddy field area. So this is very interesting one. So next we compare. We try find out the stingless bee honey versus anti-inflammation. So some of the honey shows the good inflammation. For example, 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒈 and also Reveni and also Pimbriata shows very strong also anti-inflammation. This is indomethacin. This is a positive control. This is very interesting one. Also Iridiphenis. Next.
2 more minutes, please.
Okay. So next, we also did the experiment, stingless bee honey versus diabetic. So we use alpha-glucosidase enzyme. We compare some of the honey from Terminata, Reveni, Testacea, and others honey. So we can see here inhibit also the alpha-glucosidase activity. Compare also acarbose as a positive standard. It shows the inhibition, although it's still high compared with the acarbose, because acarbose is already active compound, but this is still crude active compound in honey. So yeah, this is fourth honey. Now I produce this one. I sell this honey to public. This is called pot honey. So this is my conclusion. So stingless bee honey has many functions for health benefit, and also second, need further experiment for clarifying the mechanical compounds, and all the mechanism, what kind of mechanism exists in that health benefit of this honey. The third one is in vivo test might be needed for further application. That's all my presentation. This is my acknowledgement for my granted my funding. So basic research and also world-class research, and also funding from University of Kyoto and LIPI. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Enos. Such interesting and amazing research results, where the honey is stingless, and usually we know that the bee usually sting, but it is stingless, and also have many function, especially killing also the cancer cells and also good for diabetic. Interesting. So hopefully this will raise many questions later on. Now we step to the fourth speaker, and I'd like to read his curriculum vitae. The next will be Dr. 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 SAM Economy, and he got his PhD from International Islamic University Malaysia. His current position is right now the Director of International Program for Islamic Economic and Finance. Current research, interestingly, it's about the resilience of Syariah Bank. So for the next 10 minutes, the time is yours. Dr. Dimas, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Doctor, for introducing myself. I am 𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒈 I'm here to share my humble finding and research entitled on analyzing factors for mortality in COVID-19 patients in Indonesia. So I guess this presentation is quite not similar with the previous one because I will look at from the economics perspective and try to integrate some aspect of health in the presentations. And I wrote this paper with my colleagues, Dr. Ning Mauna, and we are from Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Here is my outline of presentation in the next 10 minutes. Introductions, overview of COVID-19 developments, literature review, data and methodology, finding and discussions, conclusion and recommendations, and the future research. The first is many literatures agree that COVID-19 has severely been affecting many sectors, including economic sectors. And many governments around the world right now have been trying to settle these problems by implementing fiscal deficits, creating detecting tools as surveillance mechanisms, lockdown or society movement control order or PPKM, and the last one is attempting vaccine distribution schemes. In addition, these are elements that could exacerbate the impact of COVID-19, such as the stress factors, people behavior in responding scarcity in economic sites, health facilities, nutrition, and macroeconomic conditions. So ultimately, those mentioned factors could increase the mortality numbers in Indonesia. And some literatures also here mentions that mortality rate is affected by economics and health factors. The former could be considered as the external environments, the economic factors, and the latter as internal factors. So those factors are part and parcel in order to encourage the people to be severely affected by the COVID-19. The internal factors are contaminated and recovered patients. Yeah, and then the external factors here, I take some macroeconomics variables as the proxy to examine and measure to what extent the economic environment could affect and trigger the internal factors of the infected patients, such as stock market, foreign exchange, and gold price. Why I choose these three variables? Because the stock market here represent the firm's behavior, the firm developments in the midst of pandemics. Foreign exchange here represent the flows of international activities, trade, for example. And then gold price here represent the price of to what extent the consumers, the consumer behavior in looking at the gold as the instrument for economics factors. Therefore, the study is significant in indicating on what actually could increase or decrease the mortality rate in Indonesia due to transmission of COVID. This study would give some implication on government policies, response, industrial institution impact, and consumer behavior against COVID-19 in Indonesia. And here is the facts that mortality rates since in the beginning, March 20 until June here, 2021, increasing time by time. And the same time here, the recovered patient also increasing time by time, and the confirmed also increased time by time. So though the recovered patients are improving well, but the trend of mortality and confirmed rate keep increasing. So we could, from these facts, we want to know what the factors actually that make this mortality rate keep increasing. And here also the behavior of the macroeconomic conditions. Maybe some of you are questioning me why I taking these three factors to be the variables, because these stock markets, gold price and currency price here are actually representing the behavior of investors and behavior of the people that impacted by the COVID-19. For example, here the gold price here impacting the consumers, the personal customers. And the stock market here represent the firms, and the currency here represent the international environments. And here the rate review, in the midst of COVID-19, people behave as risk averse by converging their asset into safe haven assets. So they try to exchange the asset into cash haven asset because they want to transact the asset into the thing that easily be used to purchase goods and services in the midst of COVID-19. And some literature states some issues related to the COVID detection tool, strategy, severely impact, lockdown. But these literatures actually very rare study on what is the method that influence the mortality, for example, affecting the mortality, and also the what the impact of economic factors, and then what the effect of vaccines toward the mortality rate. So very rare, I found some literatures that are talking of these matters. And in the daytime methodology, we employ the daily data, March 20 until June 2021 in daily basis. And the variables here is the COVID-19, the mortality numbers, independent here, including internal factors and external factors. And dummy variables is used here, namely to look at the vaccinated people, and the linear regression is used, and the data is transformed into growth rates or percentage. And here the result from the regression. So all of these data are free from the classical test assumptions. And from these variables, you can see that only confirmed and recovered here are significant under 1% significance. We look at the discussion now. So only confirmed and recovered have positive and significant toward mortality numbers. Meanwhile, economic variables negatively affect the mortality. And finally, the vaccine has positive but not significant toward the mortality. Therefore, the internal factors will have a significant effects toward mortality growth in Indonesia. We look at with the discussions. Patients with the confirmed COVID-19 contributed quite significant toward the mortality growth. 1% increase of confirmed patient growth would contribute significantly around 0.31% of mortality growth, quite high. And the confirmed patient must be reduced by taking preventive actions. So from this part, we have to reduce the confirmed patients, and the policy right now is quite good by reducing the preventive by mobility, social control order, and mitigative policies by improving health system. And recovered patients also contributed much toward the mortality growth. 1% increase of recovered patient growth would affect significantly, roughly 0.82% of mortality growth, quite high. It implies that there is no guarantee the recovered patient would survive after negatively recovered from the COVID-19. So because it has long side effects. So keep looking after the health protocol tightly and improve the body immunity is only the way how to ensure that the recovered patients will be sustainable, having affected by the COVID-19. And interestingly, some economic variables such as gold price, currency price, and stock market are not significant, but show negative signs. It implies that these variables are under shocks in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, and they represent that the economics here is not significant and could exacerbate the purchasing power parity. So it means that these variables of economics factors here are not really influence the way how the people will be severely affected by the COVID-19. It does mean that the people only concerned with the internal factors. They're concerned about their own immunity. Even though they know that the purchasing power parity is slowing down, the economy is not run well, but it's the side effects. Yeah. And the lower quality of life due to pandemic transmission process would make them difficult to fulfill the needs and could trigger the standard of living and could stimulate the mortality growth. So you see that the transmission process from the economics to the mortality is not the direct way. There's indirect ways. So therefore, there's insignificance. But these variables also not significant because the government support so far by giving the assistance, financial assistance, and make the health facility is free for the people who are affected by the COVID-19. So the last one is, in addition, vaccine has positive but not significance. The result shows 1% increase in vaccinated person with effect to mortality growth increases 0.09%. So this result indicate that number of vaccinated people need to be increased and immediately. So there is no guarantee that when the people are vaccinated, they will be mortality will be going down. But all of that, we have to remain increasing the numbers of vaccinated persons so that the immunity will be as soon as possible improved. So in conclusion is that the mortality growth in Indonesia due to COVID-19 is influenced significantly by confirmed and recovered patients. It implies that the health protocols, mobility control order, and health system facilities are still relevant and crucial to be promoted. Economic factors are not significant but have negative effects. It indicates that the transmission process to mortality is not really due to mixed reasons. It is due to government supports and no charge imposed to those who were contaminated by COVID-19. And the vaccination needs to be increased exponentially to immediately create herd immunity so that the mortality is reduced. Therefore, the approach to reduce the mortality growth due to COVID-19 is to take serious concerns on preventing people to get contaminated and maintain the immune of respective person, internal factors improvements, backed by sound health facilities and qualities. I think that's all my humble finding and research. Of course, this research is so many mistakes and weaknesses. I guess that so many response, feedback, and suggestion will be needed in order to improve the contents. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Dimas. He has discussed many aspects of intervention of government on the COVID-19. So, yeah, if we take a look at the time, we are already 20 minutes behind the schedule, but we still have one final speaker. Now let's move to the final speaker, Dr. Sylvie Nur Oktalina S.Hud MSc. She got the PhD from Forestry Faculty, Gadjah Mada University, and right now become the lecturer of Forest Management Study Program from Vocational College UGM with field of expertise socio-economic and forest. The current research is about the developing new and renewable energy based on forest resource. Oh, I like it. And then the impact and adaptation of furniture industry during the pandemic. Okay, Dr. Sylvie Nur Oktalina, the time is yours, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Bu Rina. Allow me to share my presentation. Yeah. Okay, it is my pleasure to be part of this event, and thank you so much for the committee who gave me opportunity to share my research. Actually, this is not finished research, so this research still ongoing, so it's still a preliminary of the result. Okay. The title is The Impact and Adaptation of Furniture Industry in Yogyakarta on Pandemic COVID-19. And this is the outline of this presentation. First one, introduction, and then method, also the result and discussion, conclusion and recommendation. I will directly to the content because of the time limit. Okay, today we discuss about the impact actually and what we can do for to minimize the impact of the pandemic COVID. But however, Indonesia and I think all over the country in the world has got the impact because of this pandemic. And I think every country gives some regulation like a large scale social restriction. So however, the activity is getting slow, including in economic aspect. It's interesting what the keynote speaker, Dr. Nasi, discussed about the impact of the, especially on economic impact. And the impact of this, one of this government regulation, it will declining of economic performance, like Pak Dimas just explained to us the several impact based on the several variable, I think, including what I'm trying to do the result in this year. Based on the data Bank Indonesia report, the economic growth for the processing industry, including the furniture industry, growth negatively until negative 7.5%. And Yogyakarta is one of a center for industry. Even some of the company not start from zero to do some furniture, but however the export furniture from Yogyakarta is quite high. Okay, and this is the objective of this research. First, to understand the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on furniture industry and in Yogyakarta, and we want to identify how they can adapt with this current condition. This is the location. I think most of these participants in this stream from Indonesia, so I want to tell more about the location. The method, this is the, we are trying to collect the data until last August. We are using some questionnaire, interview with some company and also small scale owner of the furnitures, and we do also the observation, even though it is difficult because the PPKM in Yogyakarta, and we do some literature review. Okay, and the result of this research is this is our sample in Yogyakarta. Actually, there are quite a lot of business unit in Yogyakarta. We identify more than 500 of business unit furniture industry. This is a small scale, and also we interview 17 small scale medium enterprise and 11 exporter furniture company in Yogyakarta. Maybe we are thinking to add more respondent to make a final final conclusion. Okay, let's see what the impact of the pandemic COVID for furniture industry in a small scale. In the labor aspect, the number of workers decreased until 50%, of course, because there is a regulation to stop some production. So it's the impact is the number of workers is decreased. And production also decrease, and the impact of that decreasing of production, the total revenue of the furniture industry is also decreased until 58%. And the marketing reach is narrower than before the pandemic. And in the production process, they do some change of the management. Now even though they are in a small scale, they provide hand wash or hand sanitizer in their workshop, and they're always using mouth masker. And the working hour setting is also changed now, become more quicker rather than before, and also reduce the working hour. They usually for 6 days a week, now less than that. It's some change that the furniture industry changed. And for the impact for furniture exporting company in Indonesia, let's see from the number of order. From the 11 our informant, from the 11 companies, 7 companies decline of the number of order. Of course, it make the revenue also decrease. And this is interesting. 3 of those companies have increased. We will make some deep interview again with these 3 companies, because how can in this condition the order getting increased and one stable. About the market share, no change so far, no change of market share, because I'm sure that they already have a long contract of this export. And supply of material, 6 companies stable, 2 companies, they got difficulties to get the new supplier of raw materials. 2 companies, they have to find another supplier because the previous supplier is stopped for supply them, and 1 company stopped the suppliers. The impact of to the labor, so far from 11 companies, 3 companies reduce the number of labor. The other still keep the number of the labor, only they make the working hour shorter, and the day of the working day also shorter. And how they can get the additional capital, they have to add additional capital, both from the owner or also from the benefit or the profit from the company. Now the adaptation of the furniture exporting companies in Indonesia in the production aspect, they use social distancing, so they are listening to the government suggestion. They make a social distancing between the workers and also provide some hand washing facility or hand sanitizer, and they have to use masker. In the marketing aspect, some of the producer of the furniture, they now start to try online marketing, especially for the small scale. For the supply material, they using raw material they available in the warehouse, and they also add the number of supplier, and some company also terminate the employment with the supplier, and they more active communicate with the supplier to keep or to make sure that the raw material is safe. And for the adaptation for labor, they use skillful labor, and some of company reduce the number of the labor, and also they manage the number of work day and also work hour. Adaptation for the company capital, they're using a business saving from the company, and also adding capital from the owner. Okay, the last one is a conclusion. The pandemic COVID-19 has an impact on furniture industry in Jakarta, such as the decreasing of the order numbers, income, marketing, and market share also, the number of labor, and the fulfillment of raw material and the capital. The adaptation of the furniture industry on pandemic COVID-19 is to maintain the business are conducting online promotion, creating new product design, providing over for buyer in the form of lowering down payment orders, reduce the labor, utilizing raw material stock, and also active communicate with the supplier, and some company looking for new supplier. The recommendation, so from this research, I think it can be a lesson learned to other company. The first one, add target market to other country or local company, setting and reducing effective working hour, advise worker to keep on the to wash their hand frequently, and also keep the protocol of COVID-19. Online marketing to be considered to increase the number of purchasing. I think that's all of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It is interesting that COVID-19 has had a overwhelmed impact on many aspects of our life, including the furniture company. However, they have taken into account all the practice to avoid as an adaptation against the COVID-19. Very interesting. Okay, right now we come to the discussion session. And is there anyone who want to raise hand? If not, there have been quite many questions addressed to Ibu Rahma, Pak Anto, dan Professor Anot. However, I would like to just combine it, mention it, so that each of the presenter can, who address, can answer it once. The first is to Bu Rahma. It is about asking about the scientific reason of how to harvest it in a sustainable way. And then the second from Pak Yayan, the first from Pak Agus Wahyudi, and the second from Pak Yayan, it's about how to avoid depletion of those two species. Would you please, Bu Rahma, answer those questions first? Can you hear me, Bu Rahma? Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rina. I will ask to question, good question from Mr. Agus Wahyudi. There is the question. Are there 𝒕𝒂𝒏 and Peronema are planted in Indonesia? Yes, the answer is yes. Laban and Sungkai trees are used as plants for the rehabilitation of degraded land. And then, how to utilize the trees sustainably from natural forest? Maybe this is my answer. Maybe we can preserve these trees by conducting preservation for these trees.
Recording in progress.
Dr. Rina,
Yes.
I return to you this discussion.
Have you finished it? Sorry, there is a technical problem here.
Yes.
Have you finished
I have
it?
been finished. Yes.
Oh, already. Okay, thank you. Sorry so much.
Yeah.
And then right now, the question that are addressed to Pak Anto, to Dr. Anto. How effective it is for the Kajuput or eucalypts to prevent COVID-19? That is from Bapak Aksep. And then for second question from Pak Astoto, how about combining eucalypts and honey in anticipating COVID-19? Then the third will be from Ibu Rumela. Is there any other way to increase the senior other than genetic engineering? Would you please, Pak Anto, answer those questions? Thank you. All right. Sorry, there is a technical problem here. So I would like to ask Pak Enos to answer the question. There are two questions from Ibu Dr. Istiana. The first is there any way to measure the quality standard of honey? And then the second is from Ibu Anita. What is actually affecting the factor of antioxidant? Because you mentioned that actually the antioxidant depends on the time of harvesting. Would you please, Pak Enos, to respond to the question? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe I will answer first from Astoto. Is it possible combine eucalyptus Kajuputih oil with honey? So yeah, of course it's possible, but we will think about the what do you call, because Kajuputih oils cannot merge very smoothly with the honey, because it must be up top in the solution must be top the oil, and then the second is honey. So cannot mix very well unless we will have some formula by pharmacists to mix it between Kajuputih oil and also honey to prevent the COVID-19. Yeah. That's my answer. For the other one, the standardized or the quality, based on the national standard of Indonesia, the new standard, it's found on 2018. So stingless bee honey already included into the standard national of the honey. So before only the sting bee, but now already included the stingless bee honey. So the main quality is about the water content. So for the quality of the water content in stingless bee honey is 27.5. So that's the maximum. And then the other quality is glucose content. Glucose content. It must be around 20 to 25 or 28. So the other is sucrose. Sucrose content is around not more than 5 or 4% of sucrose content in the kelulut or stingless bee honey. That's the standard. Other standard, for example, microorganism or bee pollen is not included yet. Not included in that quality standard. But some of the mineral contaminated, so it's already put it also like timbal and also others contaminated from insecticide or something. Yeah, that's about the start of the quality of the stingless bee honey. How the factors affected in the for the honey of the stingless bee that we already doing the research. So the most affected is the source of the nectar. The nectar of is this is regarding with the plant, the plant surrounding the colony or the beehive. So the second one is the the climate or the rainy season. So why? Because if rains come, so it will be wash the nectar from the flower. So it be, or sometimes if the rain come not so hard, like for example we call greenish or just very few of the water, so it will be mixed with the nectar, so it will be including affected on antioxidant. It will be mixed with the nectar, and the nectar will be bring to the hive by the stingless bee, so it will be affected on antioxidant. So yeah, the most is the nectar source, which is regarding with the or has related with the plant, the tree plant or the flower plant or any kind of the plants. And the second, the most affected is the season, and then the third one is the geographical location or condition. So it's geographical condition also affected on the what kind of plant is growth there. So for example, in the mountainside, so it will be different plant is growth there compared with the in the valley location or into the other location. Geographical location also included affected the quality, which is related with the antioxidant activity. Yeah, I think that's my answer for the question that arise for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Enos. Before we come to Pak Anto, just a few comments that actually there is also question for Dr. Sylvie. However, it is already being answered. Thank you very much, Ibu Hana, for asking, and also Dr. Sylvie for responding. Now we come to Pak Anto with 3 questions. Are you ready, Pak Anto? Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you.
Repeat the question.
Oh, all right.
Burina?
Yes. From Bapak Asep, asking about how effective the kajuput or eucalypts to prevent COVID-19. And then from Bapak Astoto, how about combining eucalypts and honey to prevent COVID-19, which is partly has been answered by Professor Enos. And then the third from Ibu Rumela, is there any other way to increase the senior other than the genetic engineering? Those 3 questions.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you very much for the interest in putting the questions to me. I think, as I mentioned in my presentations, the only things we can say about the benefits of kajuput oil or eucalyptus oil to those infected by COVID-19 is all testimonial. People who was infected, they inhale kajuput oil perhaps, or put a few drops of kajuput oil into a glass of water and then drink it every morning and every afternoon or every day. So there is now scientific evidence to say that this is good against COVID-19. In fact, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration of the United States, has warned any companies that mentions about the efficacy of eucalyptus oil against COVID-19, they have to withdraw that statement because it is not scientifically proven. So it's the choice of every personal choice for everyone. If they believe that kaciput oil can, stop the spread of COVID-19 or improve the health conditions so that they can become more resistant or increase their immunity against COVID-19, it's everybody's personal choice. There is no evidence to say that. And then the thing is, this combines first question and second question, and the third question about increasing the senior content. Now, what we did is not bioengineering. We're not doing anything fancy. This is all conventional breeding. We only selecting individuals with high senior content, and then put them in a progeny trials, let them cross, and then we assess the progeny and select only the best progeny that has the highest senior content. So there is nothing engineered about this. If you understand the basic conventional breeding, this is what we basically do: selecting and crossing, and then testing. And by doing that, we can increase the senior content almost double, and also, the oil yield almost double. And also, we were able to select individual which has high senior content. So don't try to anything about genetic engineering or bioengineering, because the market will refuse that, because essential oil is known as a natural oil, and natural oil is, by definitions, is something that is not no human interventions in the internal process of the producing the essential oil. So again, I'd like to emphasize that this is a pure conventional breeding method. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pak Anto. Because we are already run out of time, even behind the schedule. So at the end, I would like to wrap up this session by highlighting some important points from this session. The first is the medicinal plants, 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒆p and Peronia macanescens, as traditional medicinal for cold and fever in East Kalimantan, which scatter on secondary dryland forests, require further investigation, attention for development. And second, having established the antiviral activity of essential oil 1.8 phenol against respiratory virus, multiple research should be attempted to explore its active ingredient, especially on possibility to inhibit corona infection pathway or in proliferation of the virus. Third, stainless P as one of the genus Trigona spp found in East and North Kalimantan with unique taste have been observed and evaluated, and it is revealed that it is phytochemically has potential health benefit for human. Fourth, because of COVID-19, the Indonesia government faces a policy dilemma between prioritizing health and prioritizing the economy. This study documents the Indonesia government policy direction and provides optimal recommendation to address the dilemma. And the final highlight is the declining demand for furniture across all levels of furniture business driven by COVID-19 has influenced many timber industries. Therefore, to keep their sustainability, formulation of adaptation strategy are required. Okay, right now it is at the end of this session. Before I give it to the Master of Ceremony, let's give applause to all the presenters. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And the time I give it to the MC. Please, Dr. Istiana.